Oh man, I think we're on it. We got thumbs up. We got thumbs up. We got a paws up. There's a paw in there too. Baby Princeton's in there, keeping Mike happy because he's sad about his date.
Stop it.
I had an interesting conversation with Mike on the way to Columbus today, by the way, I'll get into later, which is completely bonkers. All right. Welcome to the Not So Tender podcast, number 13. Justin said lucky number 13.
Lucky number 13.
It's crazy. We have one more left, and then we're done for the season. We're going to take a short little rebound. I'm going on vacation. Works out actually perfect. We're going to do a couple little remote things while I'm in South Dakota, and it's going to be funny. And then we're going to change the set a little bit. We'll have some surprise for season 2. Mm-hmm. And I can't wait to have some new guests on number 2 as well. We have a guest today. Her name is Laura.
Hi.
Oh, hey, Laura.
Hey.
Laura has a million stories to tell. She's done a lot of really dope stuff in her life. We'll probably get to most of those things, but she is one of the most interesting humans I've ever met.
That's a very kind introduction.
You've done some really cool stuff, and it totally makes sense because you're a badass. So it just totally makes sense that I know a lot of grown people that couldn't have done one thing you've done, let alone the multitude of things you have done.
Well,
so welcome to the show.
Right on. I'm excited to be here, and congratulations on 13. That's super rad.
Thanks.
Yes. Yeah.
Laura was part of when we were setting this thing up, doing tests, and she would patiently sit here and while we moved cameras around and talked in the beginning.
But look how far you've come. Like high fives, fist pumps.
It's pretty good, man.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Like this is really rad.
It's getting there. So thank you. All right. Hard week, medium week. You had an easy week again. I know. I can see it on your face. You're like, I worked 2 days.
I did.
Shut up. Two whole days?
Thursday, Friday.
How were they? Oh my God. Listen, you need to get back in the grunt of things because those weeks are a little more brutal.
No, my private practice continues to be more difficult than my work at the hospital.
No offense. Good. It makes for good shows.
I know. All my couples are going through it.
Yeah. Summer's here.
They
all put on bathing suits and they're like, fuck.
Oh,
we done fucked up.
Oh, no.
Couple therapy. That's good shit, though. I think most people should do it. Mm-hmm. I had an interesting conversation today at lunch with a gentleman from Appalachia, real close to where I grew up. He's been married, 40-something years.
Wow.
And he is hilarious. No, but
do they need to be?
They said they were talking about their worst day.
Take it back.
Yeah, that's it.
Because I was like, hey, I can't stay that long because I got to go do the podcast. And he's like, now, Thomas, what do you talk about on this show? And I'm telling him. And he goes, I mean, do people just fight that much? And then they were telling a story about the only time they've ever been physical with each other, fighting. Yeah, and I'm waiting for the worst. They beat each other with bags of hamburger buns.
Yeah.
That was their level.
This is it.
That's it.
That might be foreplay to someone else.
I know.
No, and he's from Appalachia, so naturally he made it into that.
Yeah.
But he loves me because we talk about pinto beans and cornbread, and we grew up in a very similar. I mean, literally, he swam in the same river I swam in, and he just goes, "You know exactly what I'm talking about." Like it's a really good connection. He
might be an interesting guest. 40 years of one relationship. Like, he might be the guy who has a lot to share.
Yeah. It might be longer than that. I think it's closer to 50. And his wife is from Latvia, and she's amazing as well. They're just really awesome people. I get to see them usually once a week, and they are just hilarious. And they love their kids, and they love their grandchildren, and they treat me like one of them. And I'm blessed to have food with them because they all cook so amazing.
Family comes in all forms.
It does, man. He invited me. He's like, I have a birthday dinner next Sunday. I was like, let me see what I can do. He's like, I'd like to have you there. So it was really nice of him. Yeah, super sweet. My week was pretty reasonable. People are going to go through it right now. I can feel it. There's something in the air.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're deciding who they want to take to a concert or not with that Blossom Pass.
There you go. There you go.
They're like, you got real drunk at Eric Church. I really don't want to see your fucking face again. You know what I mean? Like, you showed your ass in front of your friends for the last time.
Right.
I'm just kidding. But people are kind of going through it. I've been asking people the same question like I do, and I'm still amazed at the same asshole answers I get. I'm just amazed.
Like what?
Well, like when I ask them what's the most important thing in a relationship, and they cannot answer it. And I'm like, yet you want a good relationship. Yeah. And it amazes me each time. And I'm like, if you can't explain it, how do you...
How's somebody going to fulfill it?
Dude, I don't even know how you can fulfill it in your head, your own head. Yeah. Like, because you have no answer. And I just wish people would take the time to kind of walk their ass through that a little bit and understand it. I have learned in my own personal stuff that I have to really do a good job of explaining how I feel about something, or it falls on like they don't understand it, and vice versa.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You have to use your words.
Yeah. And
like in multiple ways.
Right.
You have to explain the same concept in multiple ways.
I've said it 20 different ways, but when I said it the right way, it like the key went in, opened it up, and it was beautiful. And the same thing happened. She had asked me a question, you know, why did I stop doing this? And I gave her an answer. And we both looked at each other, and she's like, well, I didn't even know that was a thing. And blah, blah, blah. We both were like, huh. And then it just went, and it was beautiful.
Right.
Because sometimes you just assume things. You know, you get kind of in that glitch in your head, and you can't get out of it, which just sucks because, you know, only the right key makes that glitch stop. So.
Yeah. No, I have a few couples that we've been working together for weeks and months and kind of dealing with what's on the forefront of their concern. But now we're like peeling back the layers, and now we're getting into like
the real
deeper stuff, like real stuff. And almost never are both partners on the same page when you get to the bottom. So we do, like I've talked about before, I do like Likert scales of like marital satisfaction. Like at your core, how satisfied are you? And some people are like a 4 and some people are like a 7. And I'm like, that's a big jump.
Well, it's equal on each side.
Yeah.
So it's about the same either way, right?
But I'm like, how do we
to a 5 or 6?
Yeah. How do we get there? And some people they don't have the emotional depth. And I don't say that to be mean. They really are just looking at from a logistic standpoint.
They've never had to have that kind of depth.
It works fine. Like if we stopped arguing, or if we had more sex, or if we like all of these like check boxes, our marriage would be better. And almost always is there a super emotionally driven person on the other end of it going, I just want you to share with me and be vulnerable.
But what, okay.
I knew that was going to poke at the biggest button.
What the fuck's that mean? For real though, because that's not fucking fair. And when I talk to it, and unfortunately a lot of times it's girls and occasionally it is guys.
Sure, right.
But girls, I want you to open, because they want to have something on you that makes them feel. I mean, there's two things. They either want you to feel like you trust them so much that you're letting them in and all this happy horse shit, or they want to have something on you that they're going to weaponize later. And I've had a guy tell me that he shared something super fucking private.
Yeah.
That like only he knew, and he goes, "You're the second fucking person I've ever told this to me."
Right.
And every time she gets pissed, guess what comes out of her fucking mouth?
That's unhealthy.
And I'm just like this. And you wonder why it's hard for anybody, and not just men, anybody to share something if you get that turned around on you one time, you're gun shy as shit, right? Like,
right, yeah.
If you take the thing I am most sensitive about and then use that as a weapon on me, we are done. We're not having that conversation 3 or 4 times. Like, if you're going to take something that you know makes me...
intentionally, maliciously.
Yes.
At your...
Done.
Yeah, your
convenience.
Your biggest button to just take it.
Why... I that's not fighting fair.
No.
That's not even... It's just not appropriate. It is completely and totally gross.
Yeah.
And I've seen it happen. And when you have a... Like, I can only imagine what it feels like as a girl, because you already feel vulnerable about a lot of things, and since, you know what I mean, like you guys are just more emotional. But when a guy actually does share some shit with somebody, like for real, and then you turn around, and I've heard it multiple times, and I'm like, oof. I had an older lady tell me that she's not old. I mean, she's not like our last guest, is I guess my point. She said, I was listening to your podcast and I had to go into a meeting. I didn't want to stop because is when you brought up about why do women feel like men take things off their plate and they don't share the same plate. And she's like, I can't believe how real you were about that shit. I was like, I don't know how else to be.
Right.
But I talking to her husband is early 60s. Since they've been married and dating, he had a flip phone. So 25 years ago, his phone broke. He has never had another fucking cell phone in 25 years. And I was like this, I kept asking her, I was like, so what, like, she goes, he's at work or he's at home or he's doing what he's doing, and he gets home and we had a landline. I go, he has to be the happiest man. And she goes, he is. He's a happy dude.
So free.
He goes, he don't give a fuck. Like when people are like, you need to get a phone, he goes, fuck I do. I made it this far.
Right.
I don't need a fucking phone.
Right.
For what? And I was like, how does that have to feel? I've been taking my phone used since that conversation. Hell no. I've been putting it down like, I wonder what that feels like.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember though, as a kid, when you wanted to call like that boy you had a crush on or the girl you had a
I was
crush
like,
on?
no, I don't.
But you had to call their parents' house and you had to get
Yes.
through the parent before you could get to the crush.
Yeah.
And
Is
like,
so-and-so home?
yes. And
Hi,
you
Miss
had
Shepherd.
Yes, who's calling?
Yeah.
to have manners, learn how to navigate that, actually speak to adults
Don't
in
call
a way.
after 9.
Exactly.
Yes, she is, but she's in bed.
Right.
Yeah.
And now you got
Where
these
you should
little
be.
shits at school that just text
Show
each
me your
other hateful
butthole.
stuff.
Show me your butthole. I mean, literally, but I mean, seriously, like,
I haven't gotten that text.
like, you know, if I always
I
tell
don't want that text
Right.
either.
It's just him. You're on your own over there.
You can pick her up at Laura at, I'm just kidding.
Thanks.
But I had young guys in mind, like, man, these girls send me pictures. I was like, do you know what I had to do to have anything remotely
Oh my
of a
God.
picture of a girl? I go, you have no idea. You
had
didn't
to
earn
work
it.
for
The
it.
hoops you had to go through.
I asked him, I go, you think you could walk up to them at a mall and talk to a girl and then call her house and talk to her parents?
Uh-huh.
Right.
And they're
Right.
like, what do you mean? I was like, you just like, hey, what's up? You know, what you doing?
Right. What's your snap?
Right. What's your location?
Right. Well, and they share that as soon as you get their snap.
Man, I had some conversations about that this week too.
If relationships are tough at our age now, I can't
can't.
even imagine where those high schoolers and college kids are going to be in 20 years because they don't know how to talk to each other face to face now. They don't know how to navigate that or work through a conversation or use their words. They don't even know how to punctuate. So,
No.
or spell.
No, well, and
Pictures
half
of
the time
words.
they don't even send a picture of their face.
Right.
My son told me all about like wall pics.
What
and
is
how
that?
like that's how you like keep your streak going, but you don't show your whole face. So you show like half your face or like the wall, and like the wall is like at this big diss of like,
What?
I'm not even showing you my face. I'm just gonna show you
A
my
wall.
ceiling.
Holy ego.
To keep
I
a
know.
streak.
Yes. She left me on red. What does that mean? I'm like, I don't know. That means she's busy.
Right.
Like I don't know.
I mean, it happens. We've all 3 left each other on red at some
Yes.
point. You
Yeah.
know,
Yes.
this shit happens.
yes.
Right. Life.
You should start. But here's the
Anything
thing.
else?
But see,
Right.
that's I envy your buddy without the phone because how nice would it be not to be on demand all the time? I mean, if I'm out of the office and I put an away message on my email, that doesn't go to my text messages. It doesn't go to Messenger. It doesn't go. So
You
it's like
remove yourself.
Yeah. So a day off is not a day off because I'm still.
Yeah.
How do you shut that off? So I'm a little envious of your
too.
dude without the phone because. Yeah, deal with my wife.
Yeah.
You
Right.
know, like,
I call my landline.
leave me a voicemail on my answering service or my
Right.
answering machine, and I'll
Right.
call you back.
Could you imagine?
Kind of want to go there.
Me too.
Same.
Yeah.
I don't think I haven't been thinking like, how could I make this happen?
Can we
Does
start
anybody
this
really
trend?
need me for anyway?
Instead of calling in to the podcast, they have to call and leave a voicemail.
No, you have to send in a letter. Send in a
Snail mail.
Yeah.
self-addressed stamped envelope.
Smoke signal, carrier
Nobody even
pigeon.
knows what the fuck that means.
Yeah.
Wow. We're old. Just kidding. Fuck y'all. Just keep sending your location.
I prefer to experience.
Tracking.
Don't.
They're always just tracking each other.
Season.
Yeah.
It's just nonstop. You just want to know where somebody is because you feel shitty or you want to control someone.
Well, and they feel some type of way about not having 24/7 access to somebody else.
It's gross.
That entitlement is yucky.
I know, but like it's their norm. Like, and they use it. They weaponize it to be like, I'm shutting off my location. You don't get to know where I am. Why
Don't
did
ever
you
turn
let
it
them-
on.
Right.
Listen, there are some rare occasions that shit makes sense.
Sure.
Like if you're like, hey, I'm in another city and I'm gonna go to some weird parts, and they're like, hey, just so I know you're okay.
Sure.
Right.
Could
And
you
if
share your
you know-
location for the next 24 hours?
Right. Like,
Yeah.
not to be a dick, you hike the Appalachian Trail. It probably would have made your mama and your daddy feel a lot better if they knew exactly where you were.
Yeah, she didn't
The
have
whole time.
signal
And
anymore.
you could see it
No.
moving.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Although I will say that my father straight up stalked me on the Appalachian Trail. So like I called home. This is 20 years ago. So cell phone coverage
Not
in the
great.
woods,
Nope.
not great. No solar panels on your backpacks to charge your
Like it is
phones.
now.
Yeah. So I had a real camera. Because like my phone didn't
yeah,
even have, I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
if we really want to go back to the dark ages here, but I can remember calling my dad and like telling him where I was, and he got out a map and he was supposed to rendezvous with us 3 days later. And he figured, well, if they're walking 26 miles a day or 30 miles a day, they have to be right around this area.
And found you.
Yeah. Yeah. But I was also hiking with 5 men and he really wanted to know what was going on. So
Put
there's
some
that.
eyes on it.
Yeah, there's that father instinct on there. But he did. He found me in the middle of the woods, old school, with a map, looking at elevations and figuring out.
That's fantastic.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
That's all right. I think of that memory fondly. I remember kind of being a little weirded out when I looked up and saw my dad in the middle of the woods and he wasn't supposed to be there.
You thought you were hallucinating. You're like,
A
I
little
know
bit.
I'm tired, but
Right. And I know I missed
Dad?
him, but like,
Papa? Is
right.
that you?
Legit.
holy shit.
Like walking out of a public restroom, like down on some campsites. Yeah. And like the guy I was hiking with was like, dude, is that your dad? And I was like, yeah, that's my dad. Like, and then I was like, sweet, he's going to buy us hamburgers. Let's go. Like we're going to have
awesome.
real food.
How long were you out?
6 months. So yeah.
So this is an interesting story. If you want to,
You were
to share a
hiking
little
for
bit.
6 months?
Oh,
Georgia
hold
to
on.
Maine.
It gets better. Go ahead.
Well,
I can
don't know.
start it. Can I say what
sure.
got you out there?
Yeah, go for it.
She had met a boy and he was planning this trip,
Yeah.
and they
Yeah.
started dating, and that's how she got to know him.
Oh, you learn a lot about each other when you live in a tent together.
Yes.
For
So,
6
yeah.
months.
So a little bit of backstory. Like
That's a whole relationship.
you learn a
Laura.
lot about you learn a lot about yourself, let alone who you're with. I mean, if you have to, so there's one roll of toilet paper, there's one tube of toothpaste,
Right.
there's one pot that you're eating out of. So yeah, I knew when he pooped, he knew when I brushed my teeth. And like you pass the dish back and forth at the end of the night.
Yeah.
I mean, you build a house every night together and made dinner and then went to sleep. And in the morning you tear down your house and you walk 25 miles and you build your house again. And how could
For
you?
6 months?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
so long.
Like, I mean,
The funniest, one of the funniest parts of her story that I remember is because 20 years ago, everything wasn't as like today. You could get a
Ultralight
backpack that
now.
weighs nothing.
Yeah,
She
right.
says she was filing down her toothbrush to make it just as what she needed, so it'd just be
Yeah.
lighter.
oh,
Yeah.
legit, like straps on my backpack got cut off if I wasn't using
Yeah,
them.
right.
I mean, like in the summer when it got warm, like we mailed the tent home and just kept the rain fly. And we would put up
Yeah.
the rain fly and sleep under that rather than carry the tent because it was extra weight. And back then a tent was,
You're never going to complain about your life ever again.
I love camping. It's a whole new level.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
6 months. Right, and getting to
From
know a
when
new
to
human.
when?
we started in March and ended in October. Yeah. So
Yeah.
spring, summer, fall, winter, snow at the beginning, snow
Well, yeah,
at the end.
right. Yeah.
So yeah, like I said, you learn a lot about who you're with, but more than that, you learn about yourself.
Sure.
Like my limits and boundaries and like all of those things were tested and tried 100 times.
Absolutely.
So
a day.
Yeah. Yeah. And your instincts get good about people too. Like I felt safer in the middle of the woods away from towns than and I guess initially I thought I would feel better when I was closer to a town, like closer to a payphone, closer to a police station. No, that's where you get weirdos that come hike into the trail with like a bottle of booze for the weekend.
Yeah.
So I always preferred to be farther out
Yeah.
and because you knew who belonged out there. You know, your instincts get good. Somebody rolls up on you and you can tell by their equipment if they're out there because they're hiding from the law
Right.
or they, ran away from home for the weekend, or
Like if they had a lot of stuff versus a little bit of stuff.
yeah, or what they were carrying,
Right. What brands they had, what belongings they had.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And just like their stories too, like, hey, did you, because you're all kind of going on the same path, more or less, same water holes, same places to regroup, that kind of stuff. So like you could ask particular questions and I would know if that person had been in the woods 2 days earlier, or if they knew where they were going tomorrow, or if they were just out for the weekend with one of their boys, and had a glass bottle of Jack in their bag, because that was going to always weigh more.
Yeah.
So I knew immediately that was a weekend hiker.
Yeah.
Wow.
But your instincts get good and you pay attention to what's around you. My hearing got really good, because I was listening for bears in the spring, and like trying to pay attention to what else is around me. But yeah, I wouldn't trade any of it.
When I got sick and I had never suffered anxiety, and then I acquired it, I looked at a lot of things to naturally kind of get rid of it and work on it, And he said, go to the woods. And I was wondering about the first stuff you've eaten, make sure you eat, and then go to the woods. And I started really deep diving what going to the woods actually means. You overload your sensories.
Right.
Because when you're in the woods, you go back primal, like, I'm either trying to eat something or something's trying to eat me. So you're always on that, like, which side is this today?
Right.
Yep.
And all the different, movements and the wind blowing and stuff rustling, and just you're constantly, you can't relax in the woods.
I came home for a wedding. Like this is like month 3. So I've been in the woods at this point for like 90 days. And like maybe at any given time, the most amount of people around me might be 10 other hikers.
Right.
And that would be a rarity. So all of a sudden I'm home for a friend's wedding. There are 300 people I went to high school with. I'm wearing a dress. And I remember like feeling like super fancy and looking around the room and thinking, all I want to do is tell a poop joke right now, and it's not appropriate. But like in the woods,
it's all day.
Everybody's doing the same thing, so it's all relatable. And I remember looking around this wedding and being like, I totally, the anxiety, I breathe my best outside.
Yeah.
That's my church. That is my home safe territory. Doesn't matter if it's old stomping ground or new adventures. Like I do better outside than I do.
I do better just sitting in my garage.
Yeah. Well,
Like,
that's your
now that it's nice out,
space.
and my doors are open, and I sit there and drink my coffee in the morning sitting in my garage. I feel like so much more, I don't know, I just love it.
Yeah. Mine's on the water.
Is
Yes.
Yeah.
it? Yeah.
Where there's nobody.
In
Right.
a
It's just
submarine?
calm. Yes.
Oh, too soon.
Too soon.
Oh, come on.
I'm going to call it.
All right.
So I have a question though.
Yeah.
Were you still dating after the 6 months?
Okay. So this is.
Here's what I need to know, right? Like,
The big answer is no. He's still one of my very close friends. And like, if
Right.
you can't share that with and come out on the other side and either desperately hate each other or be tied in a way that you can't be with someone else. And yeah, I would give him a kidney. I would help him out however I could.
Right.
Yeah, it was interesting.
Day 15, you guys are like, this is not gonna
Well, it was funny because I had been a long distance backpacker before I met him.
Okay.
And so I helped him. He reached out so that I could help him plan his trip.
Okay.
And then as we started working together and talking about food drops and what was going to happen on this big 6-month trip for him, I was like, I really want to do this. But like, I don't want to impede on his thing for him. Like, hike your own hike. But like, I got to do this too.
Right,
like, this is my opportunity.
Right.
And so we had a big conversation about it. Before we went out into the woods, like, all right, like, are we together or are we doing this on our own with our own goals? And it was an honest conversation. We both had our own reasons for wanting to hike.
Yeah.
So that really was the goal,
Yeah.
was just to get to the end. It wasn't, it wasn't hardcore and,
Right. We're not discovering each other, we're discovering ourselves.
Right.
Yeah.
And you're testing yourself so much that I can't imagine doing that hike. Like if I was already married with someone and I knew what their responses were going to be to everything, we could probably do that hike. And because he and I had our own goals and our own reasons for being out there, I think that made it easier. If it was about being in a relationship and going and spending every day together like that.
For 6 months.
Yeah, it would have been too much. So, and like our days were broken up. So like he slept in the morning and he was real tall. He had long legs. So like his stride was like 2 of mine. So I would get up in the morning and I would start walking and he would catch up with me like hour 2.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Because of the, like we had a rhythm.
Yeah.
So we did not spend every minute together,
So you still had some alone time.
Yeah. Oh, we needed that. Like, we needed that for sure. It gave you something to talk about at the end of the night.
Right.
How many times did you walk behind him with a machete in your hand?
No, you know what? It really,
You're
on
like,
hindsight, we
7.
actually, my pocket knife was this big. We used it to cut cheese and to like open letters.
Right.
No, it wasn't. We were both pretty chill. A lot of the similar personalities. Like it takes a lot to fire us up, but when we're up, it's on.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, we, on hindsight, all things considered, even though there was no big wedding at the end or any of that, not that that was the goal.
Right.
Like, no regrets. No regrets.
That's insane.
Right.
So, plus,
It's so bonkers.
well, and it proved to me that, like, I can do fucking anything.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't know any of them.
Yeah, like I don't mean it like I'm invincible.
Yes,
I don't mean
right.
it in an ignorant, like putting myself in a terrible, scary situation. But like that taught me independence. Like I came home and I was like looking around my house and I was like, I don't need this, I don't need that, I don't need that. I need like 3 articles of clothing, a couple rolls of toilet paper, maybe, and this, like
Right.
my perspective
Yeah.
on what I needed versus what I wanted shifted dramatically. And so did my goals. Like I'd always thought of a job, to buy a big house, to buy a big couch, to have 2 cars, to go to the beach twice a year.
Yeah.
Like my concept on all of that was shifted through that experience. So like, even if that experience maybe didn't play out the way that I thought it was going to, I'm so grateful that I had the courage to do it. And I remember my girlfriends looking at me like, you're fucking crazy.
We're still thinking you're fucking crazy.
Yeah. And
I'm over here, I'm like, you didn't work.
Dude, I grew
for
up in
6 months?
Appalachian.
Did
I'm
you,
like,
quit your job?
yeah.
Or, like,
Yeah. So
yes, I did.
yeah, it was a weird, so this is a lot, but like my last 2 years of college, my first real job was working with the Department of Defense in Washington, D.C. So I was front and center for September 11th there. And after that really shifted what I wanted to be doing. My job went from offensive to defensive in a split second. And it changed the whole spectrum of what I was looking at. And it wasn't what I wanted to do. And I literally had come home to kind of regroup, had a little bit of PTSD going on. Like, that was a lot.
Yeah.
To be female and young and civilian in that type of a setting, like it was a lot. And so I just needed to get my head on, which is why a walk in the woods was perfect.
Right.
But yeah, I wouldn't trade. I would not be the person that I am now had I not had all of those experiences or speed bumps along the way.
Yeah.
Because even the speed bump is an opportunity to learn.
Always. When I was talking earlier and we were talking about the podcast, I'm like, yeah, my friend's coming on tonight. She hiked the Appalachian Trail. And he looked at me and goes, what the hell does that mean? And I go, well, it starts, he's like, listen. He goes, would you do that? I said, listen, I have hiked through the Appalachian more times just to get to my grandma's, okay? Like, your ass is crazy if you think I'm walking any more than I already did. And he's laughing. He's like, me too. No way.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, when we started, we were doing like 8 to 10 miles a day, and your body just shifts. You can eat whatever you want. It's the best diet I've ever gone on because I ate macaroni and cheese and Snicker bars for
Every
like
day.
3 months and still lost weight,
Right.
And yeah, your body acclimates itself.
What was the most amount of miles you did in a day?
26. And that was a tough day. That was like my
Shit.
knees swelled up, like,
Yeah.
because we were in Virginia in that area, so it was a lot of ups and downs and like rocky. It wasn't like Pennsylvania was farm fields, so that was relatively flat. There were definitely rocks, but it was more flat. North Carolina felt like it went straight up. Like I felt like I just straight up. Yeah. So it just, you just, I don't know.
So neat.
Yeah, right?
Walk in the woods is what she said.
Yeah, I went from the Pentagon to the middle of nothing.
I needed that.
You sound like the Unabomber. Like,
Like,
You know, it was, well, when I say about your instincts paying attention to who's out in the woods, like we would walk through towns and like, you know, there would be a sheriff out there like, hey, we're looking for X, Y, and Z. He's this tall.
Right.
Like he
As
fled.
you're going into the woods. Yeah.
Right. So pay attention if you're out there. And the year after I was out there were 2 women that were killed on the trail actually by someone who had some mental health issues mixed with some other substances out in the middle of the woods. And it went haywire.
Yeah.
So those things happen. And that's what I'm saying about like your instincts, like you're listening and like, you know, I'm asleep, but I'm still like listening for heavy breathing outside the tent that shouldn't be there, you know?
Any kind of.
Right.
Yeah. Like I don't know.
I remember camping in Cranberry Glades with my uncle and cousins, and me and my cousin fell asleep, you know, and it's in the Monongahela Forest. And we wake up and there's bear tracks all through, right between our, like, where we were sleeping, going to the grill.
Right.
Just grabbing food. And it was a black bear, you know.
Yeah.
And I was like, sanctuary. And I was like, hey, Uncle Charles. He's laughing. He's the best uncle ever, man. He would just laugh. He's like, y'all sleeping in the car tonight? I was like, yes, sir.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
There's parts on the Appalachian Trail where you actually sleep in cages, like almost like a reverse zoo where you would see animals in cages.
What?
At the zoo. The humans have to sleep in the cage because the bears come into the campgrounds because they can smell the food.
Yeah.
So you have to hang all your food in the trees, bear bags.
Yep.
And you do this every night religiously because then if some critter, whether it's a raccoon or a bear, comes into camp, they're trying to get up the tree. They're not trying to get in your tent for your Snickers bar.
Yep.
That's a bad day. So yeah, there's parts on the AT where like there's literally signs. Someone hung a sign on one that said, don't feed the humans because you shut yourself into this cage at night because that is the heavily traveled area where the bears are, and especially in the spring when you've got mamas out there with cubs.
Yeah.
The last thing you want to do is get between the two of them unintentionally.
Yeah. Right.
So I had jingle bells, like Christmas jingle bells in my backpack, my bear bells, you know, so everywhere I walked, you would hear a noise because the last thing I ever wanted to do was creep up on somebody or on a bear and not both of us be
want
surprised.
them to hear you coming.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah. I sang a lot too. I sang a lot in the woods.
Didn't you say it was right when like iPods were like,
Oh, yes.
new?
So again, I'm going to date myself here. I mean, it's 2003. It wasn't like 1973.
1875.
Right. But
It was a cold winter.
iPod shuffles were like the new thing. There was only one guy out there that had an iPod shuffle, and he had what was it? It was the album they just played at the Kent stage. They're great. Crash Test Dummies. That was the only music that we had for probably 12 weeks was the Crash Test Dummies.
Just that record.
Just that record. And so every night, but it was the only music. And so, yeah, it was crazy. I remember like almost getting in a fist fight with a guy one night over the lyrics to Ram Jam Black Betty. Like I bet my firstborn child every Snicker bar in my backpack that I had the lyrics right. And there's no jukeboxes. There's no Shazam. You can't look that up in the middle of the woods. And I remember the first time we hit a town that had a jukebox, like all hell broke loose, and I was wrong. I was totally wrong. Like I probably still owe that man some things, but whatever.
You should have sent him some Snickers.
Yeah,
and a
legit.
random baby.
Right. The lyrics to Ram Jam Black Betty. So, but yeah, I mean, a simpler time. It's like you
just have to make it happen. I mean, there's no choice.
It makes me sad. I think that maybe folks won't have that opportunity to travel like that, where you have that. Yeah, but you don't. That's not your first instinct to be self-reliant.
No, but somebody who's taking on that kind of responsibility, I'm going to assume that they're doing that to get away from stuff. Yeah. I mean, having a phone and being connected probably helps a little bit, for safety and just peace of mind. But getting away from stuff. Everybody acts like, well, what if something happens? I go, then it's already happened.
Right.
I don't know if you know that. Like, what if Thomas, what if there's an emergency? I'm like, a tattoo emergency? A fucking guitar emergency? Like, call 911. I don't know if you know this, but I'm not a first responder. I mean, like, I understand, like, you want my comfort there, but I don't know. These are people who have never really been through any shit. Because when you go through shit, it doesn't matter who's there.
Right.
Right.
I mean, it really doesn't.
Well, you figure out the two people that you want to be there.
Yeah.
It's not
And
the
even
tribe. It's your
Bare
ride
minimum.
or die.
Bare
yeah,
minimum.
it is your emergency.
What do you say at that little tight circle? Like what's
Yep.
in the very center
Yep.
of it?
Yeah.
Speaking, and the people are complaining about relationships now. Oh, fuck. You bunch of babies. Come on. All right, we're going to talk about love languages today. We've been talking about this. We've been teasing this since day one. Love languages, the language of love. And no, this isn't Antonio Banderas. He's not going to pull a guitar and start singing to you. So, the love languages came from a gentleman by the name of Gary
Chapman. Dr. Chapman.
Dr. Chapman. I hear a lot about these love languages. I think people use them when they're asking about dates. What's your love language? And you should probably ask that. Or maybe you should take the test together. And also, the little research I've done, you can have more than one, ladies and gentlemen. Don't think it's ingrained into
It changes,
stone.
yeah.
It's not carved into that forever. It can change. And most people actually have more than one. It's not as dialed in as you think. It might lean a little more towards one.
Yeah.
But just remember, this isn't written in stone.
Yeah. Everybody's
Is that fair?
personality is different.
But people
everybody's
act like it is.
Stage of life is
This is
different.
my love language. Okay. That's
There's
it, huh?
5 of them.
That's all you need?
Yeah.
Just one. So you don't get anything on those other 4. Is that cool?
No.
Could you imagine if, like...
No, relationships are well-rounded.
All right, let's name the 5.
All right. Acts of service, receiving gifts, quality time, words of affirmation, and physical touch.
All those sound dope.
I know. They're all great.
That's why you need pieces of each of them.
Right.
Yeah.
There's no bad one.
Like if I had to make a pie, I mean, someone would have bigger...
Yeah.
You know, for
Yeah.
me, I mean, I'm sure for everybody, right?
Yeah. I've done love languages with a lot of people. And I would say consistently receiving gifts is the lowest. But I feel like that is a cultural
That sucks for
thing.
me. That sucks for
that,
me.
like-
Because I love giving them.
Well, nobody wants to be selfish.
Nobody wants to say that
to be
shit.
greedy. Nobody wants, yeah.
Even if they feel that way.
Right. Or they were raised to not want gifts. Like,
I'm
we don't
familiar.
have money, we don't have time, we don't have whatever. Like, don't be greedy, don't be selfish, don't be whatever. Like,
Or the opposite. They were raised, and that was how they knew their parents cared for them
yeah.
because the parent couldn't communicate in the other ways.
Right.
So they,
That's all they knew how to do.
yeah, here's a new baseball glove.
Yeah.
I love buying my
Like-
kids stuff, and I probably overdo it at times, but I love doing it for them. I love getting people stuff
Yeah.
Yeah.
because it's
Same.
easier than me
Right.
trying to express it some other way.
As in words of affirmation.
Because that just
Not his thing.
No,
Quality time.
I do like quality time, but like that's a big thing, and we're gonna touch back into that when we hit that motherfucker. Don't worry, because I'm gonna be honest, y'all full of shit. Not you personally, but people are full of shit. Because I'm just telling you
About
right
what?
now.
Quality time?
Listen, wanting to be special. Fuck y'all. Seriously, you can't even
over
define it.
Right,
You
big
can't.
words.
You cannot define what makes it special. Ooh, I got so mad the other day about it.
He's been on one.
Because it's you torture people.
I know.
They torture people over this shit, and you can't even explain it. But you think it's not special. We're just hanging out. It's not special. Okay, if I was hanging out with some other broad, sure the fuck would be special to you.
It's not unique.
Yeah.
But there's only
Neither are they.
Only,
Neither are they. Let's call it the fucking way it is. I'm full. No.
Thomas,
I'm
you're
mad.
fired
I
up.
know.
Because
Here we
I
go.
see, listen,
I know.
I see people come in, and these poor guys can barely fucking, like, they're like, dude, I can barely just keep my shit together. I'm just barely able to communicate because I was never taught to do that. And they want me to make it special, and they won't tell me what it is, but I just got to guess. Do you know what? That's
torture.
it's fucking shitty.
Yeah.
Dude, if I can't figure it out,
Yeah.
Bill that drives tow motor, I think he's going to fucking drop the ball. Just
Right.
saying.
I don't think it's fair to expect your partner to be a mind reader.
That's yes.
That is,
I shouldn't have to
we're all
tell
guilty
them.
of it, I think, but
100%.
it is not fair to expect use your words or use your love language.
Right.
All right, let's talk about the first one. Acts of service.
So this is where actions speak louder than words. So we've talked about this, I think, maybe last episode.
Probably every fucking episode.
Sure. So this is where they want you to do things for them without asking. So
new moms. Moms love acts of service. That's their jam.
that's true. My acts of service used to be way down on my list because I was like, I got it. I can do
pump
all
my
my
gas.
shit. That now that I have 5 children at home, I'm like, listen, if you could pump my gas, make me coffee, make my breakfast, just
Right.
put the Pop-Tarts in the toaster.
Yeah. Get them
Love
out.
you for
Just
that.
get them
Right,
out.
yeah. Just put them in a
Take
baggie.
one step off.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So acts of service, that's what it is. Intentionally recognizing what needs to be done for the other person and taking that off their plate.
Why do you think people get so upset when you have to remind somebody? Because it feels like they just don't care. They don't listen.
Remind them about what? Because they said they were going to, and you have to remind them?
No, say like you said, hey man, I'd really love it if you could just pump my gas, or you could just do that thing. And he doesn't all the time because he just doesn't think about it because it's not his thing. Does that mean he doesn't love you? Does that mean he doesn't care for you? Does that mean he doesn't want to pump your gas?
No. So pumping your gas, I feel like, is extra. But like, hey, could you put the laundry in the washer? Or in the morning when you wake up, could you switch it over? That way, by the time I get up,
Yeah.
like those things for an acts of service person, they would appreciate you recognizing that needs done. When they walk past the kitchen and they see that there's dishes in the sink, but they know you're in the shower, and as soon as you come out, you're going to do the dishes. If they
Right.
do them, that it's helpful because then they can go. It's not taking any more of their time. You're in the shower anyway. So when you guys go to bed, then things are done. So like that's more what it is. Not
Okay.
necessarily going above and beyond would be knowing that your partner or your mate's love languages is acts of service.
So if you see him struggling, that's
Yes.
more when you see him struggling.
Just help them.
Because I was going to say, if you start off with 2 people that just get shit done, that's not a real thing.
No.
That's the
Nope.
normal shit. Like, I'm very fortunate that, like, my situations have been
Yeah, you're fine.
very similar. To,
Right.
like, we just get shit done. So
Yeah.
it's not like, oh, this is special. It's like, no, this is what the fuck we do.
Yeah,
Right.
but the fuller your plate gets, the more this usually comes up.
Right. But there's usually somebody that's lacking and even just being
Yeah.
conscious of what's going on in the
Yeah.
fucking room.
Yeah.
You know, this is acts of service is not my love language, but I'm very appreciative when that happens. I make sure to say thank you and acknowledge.
You handle your shit, though, Laura.
Well,
mean,
not
it's-
always, but I try to make a point of it. Plus, like, why wouldn't I want to reinforce good behavior, even if it's maybe not what I need every time? But like, I don't know.
thoughtful.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's true. I mean, when somebody does something nice for you, unfortunately, there's an old saying: if you hand somebody an apple every single day, eventually they're standing there with their fucking hand out for an apple.
Yeah.
And even though they never asked for it, but they grow to accept it, and you don't say thank you each time, and you don't, like, when somebody walks in the door and you don't stop and hug them and kiss them, you don't stop what you're doing. That's
Right.
really fucking important, man. I stress it a lot to people. I'm like, stop what you're doing. It doesn't have to be over the top, because like I want a special date. I'm like, how many times did he take you on a special date in your life? Like I'm calling bullshit. You know what I mean? Like, it's nice, but like, you're expecting him didn't plan one, because he would love to probably go with you, but he doesn't want to fail you. You know, I've been really working through that shit since I had a full meltdown on the show. Really been finding out where that comes from. And it really comes from that I don't want to fail somebody. And it sucks, man. But being able to explain that, and I'm really working hard to get through that, is holy shit life-changing for me right now. Acts of service.
Yeah. So it says that acts of service are anything actionable with the message being I care about you. So going intentionally and doing something to take something off of their plate.
Yeah, because I mean, that's...
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. I was raised this way. My dad was not a huge like words person, but he worked really hard and he did things for us, and like he was
Make
old
sure
school
your
that
stuff
way.
was taken care of.
All of the time.
Yeah.
And so when I guess I probably just in adulthood grew into acts of service being important to me, because if I
Well, you
have
also
an issue
needed
with
it.
my car,
You needed it.
well, yeah, when I have an issue with my car, if I tell whoever I'm dating, like, my car is making a weird noise, and they're like, oh,
But they don't stop what they're doing and go, "Come, what do you mean?"
what noise?
I'm like
right,
this.
Yeah, right.
What do you mean?
Right.
What kind of weird
Factors.
noise?
Right.
Well, I mean, I'm
Let me
literally, even with my
let
friends,
me get your
like,
keys.
I'm
Right.
like,
Let me.
no, she'll call,
Right.
like, I'll be talking to her about just something random. She's like, something's weird. I'm like, what do you mean?
Right.
Like,
Tell me more.
Dude, we became friends. Like, we met each other through music and stuff like that. But we became friends because she had a tree fall down in her fucking yard. And she goes, just posted something and it was, and I'm like, I got a new chainsaw. I'll be over. And she's like, seriously? I was like, yeah, let's get to it.
He sent me a picture of this chainsaw in like a new bag and stuff. And I texted him back and I was like, that's the best dick pic I've ever gotten.
Right.
Because I needed someone that had a chainsaw.
Yes,
like I
please.
literally had a tree laying through my yard on my house. And and you have that like that oh shit moment.
Well, no, but you needed it. I was close. I didn't care. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I don't know. It just made sense to me because I've definitely had people do that for me. So what would only make sense?
Super appreciative.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck that tree. Fuck that tree.
I'm grateful for the tree, Thomas.
Me too.
All right.
There we go.
It worked out.
That's why we're here. All right. Number 2 is receiving gifts. So this one gets a bad rap. Like I already said, like nobody wants to admit that receiving gifts is important to them. But what it says here is heartfelt physical representation about how much somebody loves you or appreciates you. So you've been talking about Snickers.
Who doesn't love a Snickers?
I love a Snickers. So does
Black
my
gold.
husband. Right.
Yeah.
So like when my husband goes to the gas station and brings me home a lottery ticket and a Snickers bar, I'm like,
He loves me.
thank you.
Yeah.
It's those little things.
Yeah, it's just the little stuff. Yeah.
100%, man.
Right. Or when it's Christmas or my birthday or Mother's Day and I get something from my mom or my husband or my best friend that is something that I mentioned 6 months ago, that means a lot.
I didn't realize how many people struggle with giving gifts.
I didn't either. I'm really good at it.
And modest, too.
I'm so humble.
Check her out at kellygifts.com.
So humble. But I pay attention.
Right.
Yeah.
But I like doing that too. And if I'm going to give someone, we all have enough clutter.
Yeah.
And garbage stuff.
At this point.
Sure,
so
right.
it's like if I hear somebody say they like really need something or like,
Or you see something that just fits them.
Right.
I'm very hard to buy for in one aspect. Like if you just scan over me, I'm very hard to buy for because I have everything in duplicate. I have 2 of everything, if not more, because I'm a psychopath. And but when people really listen, because I've dated girls and they're like, "You're just impossible to buy for. I don't know what to buy for you." And I was like, "Wow, like I'm also very easy to buy for. Just listen."
Right.
Like I have all friends. Justin, what kind of guitar strings do I use? You know what I mean? Like and dude, I've had people knock it out of the park, man, and just have the dopest stuff. And like, dude, I chew the same gum.
Right.
I wear the same black V-neck t-shirts. Like that means you listen. That means you pay attention. And I'm very blessed that I've had some people just kill it, but then I've had people, and I'm like, really? Like you could tell me one thing and it's going to stick in the back of my head, and when I see it, it's coming home with me, and
Plus, there's always food.
right,
Always.
Like Swenson's. Here's a Swenson's gift card. Everybody gets happy with Swenson's.
Yeah.
I don't know. I know that's
true.
silly and like,
it's not.
but I don't know.
Right. Well, it says gift giving is really about demonstrating your love for somebody by giving them something you know they would appreciate. So it's not just like throwing flowers at somebody
or flowers they don't like. I knew a
Right.
girl that she hated anything but white roses. She loved white roses.
Yeah.
And like she said, like dudes would get her other flowers, and she's like, "What? I don't."
Swing and a miss.
I mean, how easy is it to get white roses? I mean, it's
Right.
pretty damn easy.
That's true.
Especially when you know they're her favorite.
Right.
You file that away.
Right.
And like,
Right.
Because if you got me something that I don't use, like something like don't buy me shit that I don't, because I won't use it.
Right.
It's silly. I don't wear Nikes. You could buy me 200 pair of them. I'd be like, this is stupid.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I just don't, not because I hate them. I don't wear them. You know what I mean? Like, and if you can't tell what kind of Adidas I wear when I have 10 pairs of them in the house at any given moment, if anyone wants to put a new pair of size 12 Sambas in my life every month, I'd be the happiest human in the world. So,
we'll work on that endorsement.
thank
There
you.
you go.
Yeah.
Nike's pissed at you now.
Right. We're never getting the swoosh.
No, fuck them. Sorry. Adidas forever. I don't care. I'll pay for it versus getting free Nike
you
shit.
go.
Sorry.
Right.
Careful.
Yeah. Free. Justin. True.
All right. Number 3.
Yeah, this is the one.
Here it quality time. So I'm going to read what it says. Are you ready? Take a breath.
Did you set your love seat on fire? I just have to know.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Every time he just gets more and more riled up. It's good. The season's almost over. He needs a break.
I do. I need to go ride 4,000
Some new furniture.
miles.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going.
Yeah.
I'm
That's
not
okay.
joking. It's going.
Why would you want to keep it in your house if you get angry every time you look at it?
I'm not.
Oh, about your couch?
Yeah, it's going. I'm going to donate it to Mike.
Yeah.
No, sorry. Quality time refers to uninterrupted focus and time together with no distractions. It's about prioritizing time together.
Holding 5 yards. Listen. That okay? Uninterrupted?
Yes.
Ready? That's not fucking Netflix then. That's interrupted as fuck.
That's true.
Because your Netflix is no different than your fucking phone.
That's true. I tell couples all the time, I'm like, turn the TV off.
Right.
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 100%.
Play Go Fish.
Listen, I've learned so much.
Seriously, do a puzzle.
Right.
Dude, it's amazing.
Bake cookies.
Right?
Anything that requires interaction, because you're right. TV, movies, all of that stuff, like, doesn't
not
require
real.
interaction.
Plus, it's too easy. That's like the fallback. Like, I'm not saying you need to do a puzzle every night.
No.
Nothing like that. But
Maybe
I
Twister.
think I'm down with that.
Sure.
But like,
Makes sense.
the TV is just too easy to fall back on. I mean, maybe
It's
you have
good
a
if
show
there's
that you
nothing
share.
else. Yeah.
That is nice. Like,
Yeah, if you have a show that you
like,
share,
watch
I get that. You know, if
Yeah.
you're both screaming
But-
at Wheel of Fortune, good times.
every day.
You know,
Listen, I'm learning to not death scroll on Reverb looking for guitars anymore. It's hard.
There's a time.
Yeah.
I
There's
learned a
time and
valuable
place.
lesson, man. Like, trust me, man, to have that to do over again. You know, I don't suffer a lot of regret, but I'll tell you what, when you realize what you gave up just out of normal rhythm
Habit,
of what you do, you know, it sucks.
I think you can only be mad at yourself if you were intentionally doing that.
No, I understand that, but I'm saying, but like, I don't ever want to do that again. I'm one of those people that I shut the fucking valve off. Like, once something, I realize that I'm like, nope.
It's detrimental.
I can't.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, and it shouldn't be, like, you know.
No, but finish up at the shop, go out to your car,
Yeah.
scroll for 10 minutes, and then put it down and go home.
Yeah.
Walk into the house and be there.
And be done. Right.
100%. And I think most people, if they would put their phones down when they get into their home, be like that guy. I mean, seriously, man. There's nothing going on that if it's that bad, fucking call me. And my phone ring, that is the only thing that makes noise on my phone is a
Yeah.
phone call. So unless you're calling me, it's not that fucking important.
I think it goes back to a couple episodes you guys were talking about, like the bedroom being sacred space.
Yeah.
And don't argue in the bedroom. Like, that space should be what it's about. Now, like, I have pretty firm, like, rules. Like, I don't have a TV in my bedroom.
I
Like,
thought you were going to say firm bed. I was like, Laura.
Pretty
what-
firm bed.
yeah, I mean, teach
Nice.
their own. It's fine, but like, no TV in the room. You know, I don't want someone laying next to me scrolling through their phone, like looking at TikTok or Facebook or whatever. Like, I get that that's kind of out of a boredom habit thing without even thinking
I think
about
our
it.
brains are
Compression.
just addicted to it.
Correct, but yeah, I don't want all those people in my space though either.
Yeah.
I'm learning.
Because
The
it's just
TV
a fight
thing-
waiting to happen. I feel like, or like,
Some people need to fall asleep to the TV thing, but you set the alarm. Like, I fall asleep.
Yeah.
When I stop moving, I fucking fall asleep.
you.
Do you? Yeah.
I need a noise. Like,
Yeah.
I can do a
understand that.
fan. I don't want a TV in the room. Like, that's just hard for me. But
It doesn't
just
bother me
turn-
because I fall right asleep. I don't
Yeah.
give two fucks.
so does
Yeah.
my husband. We just turn on YouTube at this point and play like music or
Yeah.
rain or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had a lot of Seinfeld.
Friends is my go-to.
That's-
or Will and Grace.
Yeah.
nothing that's going to give you nightmares.
No.
No.
Right. No alien invasion
fuck.
movies. No. Yeah.
No.
No, that's always a fun one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I'm having trouble falling asleep, I will turn on my phone and just have my phone like super, super low next to me and like put
Right.
Friends on just so I can hear something.
Something.
To, like, yeah.
So defining quality time with your
Mm-hmm.
partner, that if that's really important to you, and it should be important to most people, you should really start by putting your fucking phone up. Both of you put your fucking phone up. Even if you're watching TV, like I said, cuddle up with each other because, you know, that's more important than staying on both sides of the couch because it's a weird disconnect. And that quality time, it's getting dude, the phones will fuck you up. Phones will fuck you if you listen. If it's TV or a phone,
your attention.
put up the fucking phone.
Yeah.
Because the TV, we've been having TVs in our lives forever, you know.
Yeah.
So you can have a TV show on and still reasonably be with each other. But it's the hard thing is when, like, if you wanted to watch something and your husband didn't, he's sitting with you, but he's like, I don't give a fuck about the show.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's where where it's like, I'm just sitting here because I don't really like that show.
I don't care
You know?
what we watch. This says making intentional plans for instances of quality time. It goes into like even going as far as to set like a calendar reminder in your phone to say
my
like Thursday
neighbors
night.
are older and they walk their dog a couple times a day, and they're always out doing stuff with each other. They're always like doing, you know, yard stuff, but they walk with each other with their dog every day. You know what I mean? So like, you know, even just going for a walk.
Yeah.
When I find myself like getting overwhelmed with work and bringing that home with me so that is in those evening hours and that kind of stuff, I'm like, we need a date night this week. Like,
Same.
can we just get out of this house for a minute? Like, and it doesn't, I'm not talking fancy. I'm not talking anything.
I don't care.
Even
But,
some
like,
wings and a couple beers.
Preach. Just
Right.
change the scenery. We got to change up the energy just a little bit because I can feel it getting
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
clogged up.
Right.
It's
yeah.
huge.
Free is fine.
Yeah.
That's what I tell my husband. I'm like, can we just go drop the kayaks in the lake? Can we go to
Right.
the park and just go for a walk? Can
I'm into
like,
that, man.
Yeah.
There's
just
a
go
park
for
by
a
my house
drive.
that
I don't
love.
care. Right. I just need,
absolutely
I just
love
need
it.
out. I just
Yeah.
need to reset with you.
Right. Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's huge. But you have to express that to somebody, what your quality time means and their quality time means, and kind of find a comfortable. I mean, if you can't find a comfortable medium with that, then you probably shouldn't be fucking each other.
Unless that's the category that they fall in.
I mean,
Maybe
but
that's
still.
the quality time.
Right.
But if somebody
That's
else has that, you have to kind of
Physical
match.
touch. Sorry.
They blend.
But don't
Yeah.
you have to match it? I mean, you don't have to match it, but you have to like concede to it a little bit. Because if they're into that and you're not, then what? Then you just break up.
That's true.
I mean, what else are you gonna do? You're gonna have to figure it out, right?
So this breaks down how to prioritize your time together.
Let's hear that shit. I'm into that.
It says, truly giving your part attention, connecting on an emotional level, actively listening, and being engaged.
Like you do when you're trying to get in each other's pants. It's true.
Listen, the times that men have been trying to get in my pants, they are not emotionally connecting, active listening, or engaging.
They're worried about different boxes
No, I'm
to
saying
check.
when
They're
you're
not.
like on date 3.
Sure.
You know what I mean? When you're really like actually, you know, because you spend more time because you're not banging. Like once you start banging, you kind of spend more time getting to it. And then you have a lot of leftover time to scroll on your fucking phone. It's true.
How long does the honeymoon period last? Is there like a legitimate like time frame for that?
It depends.
Okay.
It depends because like my husband and I, until we've been together 4 years, we just now started like bickering. We still don't really fight.
That's okay. That just means you know how to like.
Yeah.
You're communicating.
But like everybody consistently says like, you guys are just the honeymoon phase. I'm like,
Fuck's that mean?
or we're just grown
Right.
and emotionally intelligent and know how to express
And
what
you're
it
a
is. That we're like,
therapist.
right.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here. Oh my God, you're coupled. You guys are so good at art. No shit.
Right. Yes.
Oh my God, your
Right.
music taste is reasonable.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Right. So I guess the honeymoon phase. I mean, I know couples who their honeymoon phase is 3 months, and then they're like in it.
Right.
Really?
Yes.
Damn.
Yes.
3 months.
I don't think I want to date them.
No, don't
Like-
date them.
I just
Usually
didn't know
they're
if-
still together.
Right,
They
right.
just tanked super early, and then they come to therapy.
And different things will happen within your life with your
Sure.
family and things like that that will trigger like for real change in your partner as well. So it's not always
Yes,
with those
right,
two
yeah.
people. It could be a shitty job. It could be anything traumatic.
Yeah,
I
an
mean,
external stimulant
100%.
can tank somebody.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
for sure. That'll do it.
Yeah. But
So quality time.
quality time. Prioritizing the other person, uninterrupted, one-on-one, focused in,
Put your phone down.
honed in.
Right?
Yeah. And there's no time. If you read that, like, there's no time. I don't
It's
I don't
kinda-
have 5 hours. I don't need 5 hours.
Just a little bit.
Yeah. My husband and I laid on the hammock. We have a 2-person hammock the other day in the rain.
Those 2-person hammocks end up making 3-person hammocks.
It's not true.
So listen.
But like for 20 minutes, like 20
Right.
minutes is all I
I'm
needed.
glad you brought that up. Because I think people think quality time means from the time you get off till the time you go to work.
No.
Oh God, who has all that time?
No.
Life
So, but
gets
you think you
inserted
need to
there.
explain that to people? Because
Yeah, sure. Like I was seeing clients on my patio because I do virtual. So I was on my patio seeing clients and it was super peaceful. And I went in and my husband was on the couch waiting for me to be done watching TV. And I was like, hey, would you have any interest in laying on our new hammock? And he was like, isn't it raining? And I'm like, mm-hmm.
that's
Sure
cute.
is. And he was like,
Super
okay.
cute.
So
Yeah.
like we went out and it
I
was
like
just
pneumonia. You like pneumonia?
It was just
Let's go get it.
misting. Like it was
Yeah.
misting. It wasn't enough to get wet.
Gorilla.
It
It's
was
not
just-
January.
right. We were just laying on the hammock, and I said, I was like, and he was like, "Do you want to go in?" And I was like, "No." I was like, "Give me 5 more minutes," and I just like took some deep breaths, laying on his chest, and just like grounded myself with him, and then I was done.
And he's like this. My hair is getting so frizzy right now. I hate
His
it.
hair is so curly. It was probably beautiful when we were done.
Luxurious.
But you found your safe space.
Right, that's all I needed. And
Yeah.
he's a quality time and physical touch person, so that's
It worked
20
out.
minutes was good.
So like I said, I'm glad you said that
Yeah.
because some people don't understand it. Like they want it until they're full.
Yeah.
And
no.
you can be reasonably full.
Sure.
But if somebody's got shit
I
they
just
got to
need
do.
filled up a little bit more.
Gotcha.
I don't want to be empty.
Right.
Give me like a third of a glass. Like, I'll
But
be
you
good
were able
right
to
now.
explain that.
Yes.
You were able to express.
Yeah.
I need 5 more minutes.
Yeah,
Not.
that was it.
Can
Why
we
are
just
you
do
rushing
anything
me?
nice? Yeah. Right.
Why are you
When it
rushing
gets to that exhausting point where there's like your
Gasp
cup
of
is
air.
never full, you know,
Insufferable.
that is where it
Yeah.
becomes more of a job and a task and less of a I really want to be here with you at this moment. Like
Or
I'm
ex-
invested in this.
Or
So-
understand that they have shit they have to do. Again, because my full-on fucking meltdown on the show in like the last 12 episodes. Learning how to explain to somebody like, look, you don't understand. If I can't get this done, you're not going to get me. You're not going to get me peaceful. And like, I can be peaceful when every little task I can reasonably do in my head in that day is done. And then I can go like this. Psh, hi. Blah, blah, blah. But until it's done, I could be sitting with you, but I'm like, there's a box in my
racking,
garage
yeah.
that needs turned 3 inches.
Right.
Just let me go turn this box 3 inches. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because my brain is going,
Right.
you know.
I think that is that's part of being in tune with your partner though, and learning how to read their energy.
Yeah.
So like if they're sitting next to you and trying to have that quality time with you, but you know they're 10,000 miles away, it would be very easy to get mad at that. But I think recognizing too, like, okay, I need to set him loose in the garage for 20 minutes and then he'll come back and be able to like breathe
Right.
deeply on the couch. I think there's some give and take there too.
Absolutely.
I had a lady come in and she says she's dating this guy and he's older than her, but she goes, I just love him to pieces because he just handles shit. And she goes, he came over and I thought I had more time. I thought I could get done when I need to get done. And I'm paraphrasing her story, but she had stuff she still needed to get done in the house and she's trying to grill. And he looked at her and goes, hey, baby, do you want me to take over the grill? Because I know you got some stuff you want to get done and just go do it. And she's like, are you sure? Well, he's like, I can tell. And you could see, and I go, how'd that make you feel? And she's like, that's it. That's all I needed. You know what I mean? So I could go get that done so I could spend time. We could eat dinner. And you know what I mean? And I thought that was really sweet for a guy to just, go, hey, I'll take care of this. Go do that. Like, I think everybody
Yeah.
thinks that, like, today's, because we get told, live every day like it's the last day. Today's the fucking last day of your fucking life. Blah, 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 blah. But if that was true, we wouldn't go to work. We wouldn't we would literally just live.
true.
Right? Okay. So holding somebody else to that thing, like, well, you don't understand. This could be okay, but more than likely, we're probably going to fucking wake up tomorrow. Just saying.
Right.
But seeing someone else struggle, especially if you want a good person, they have a lot of things on. I don't know any good people that don't have a lot of plates.
Right, yeah.
A ton of plates, a ton of shit on. The only people I know that don't have anything going on are assholes that demand shit out of other people constantly because they have nothing else to do than to holler at you and demand things out of you. But busy people kind of understand when you're busy. Like if you can't come through with something and I can't, we're never mad at each other. We're never mad at each other because we're like this. Just get at me
Fine.
tomorrow.
Right,
It's
yeah,
okay.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. We'll
But I'm
figure it
also
out.
choosing not to take that personally.
Right.
You have to make that conscious thing. Like,
Yeah. Well, yeah,
Yeah.
I could be offended.
but come on, we all got stuff
What does
to
that
do.
serve
So
me?
why?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
What
like
purpose
part of the
does that
5
serve?
agreements,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, don't take things personal.
Right.
Thank you for that, by the way.
Yeah.
She gave me that book.
The 4 agreements.
4 is. I put 5 in
Yeah.
there.
The 4 agreements.
Put
And
your phone down. That's the 5th one.
yeah, it should be. That's the bonus section of the
Added
book.
one, right.
But yeah, the 4 agreements, there's one of them that says don't take anything personally. And like recognizing that, like, whatever, it worked for me, like it clicked for me. That was
Yeah.
a phrase I understood. And so when people come at me with like fired up energy that isn't mine to absorb,
Yeah.
like I just have to remember to take a step back and let them like do their thing, but not to take that in, because that's,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's gross.
Don't take it
It's
personally.
just where they're at.
Right.
Right. And I tell people all the time, you're going to have to like intentionally tell me like, Kelly, fuck you, you suck. For me to be like, huh, is that me?
Like
Right.
real suck?
right, yeah.
Like we're siphoning gas out? Or like, what are we talking here?
I'm like, I still would question if it was really me or if you're just.
Right.
I'm gonna need you like. Look at like that's
It
that's
can't be
mine.
me.
That's
Right.
mine to pick up or not. Like
Right.
I know who I am, and if
Yeah.
you don't appreciate who I am sorry for that. But like that doesn't mean anything's wrong with me.
So I have a thing that I always, when people are like, look, man, I told her I was fucked up. Hey, I told him I was fucked up. I like, stop doing that. You're just making excuses for future
Yep.
bad behavior.
Correct.
Because you're a fucking asshole.
Yep.
That is some asshole shit. When you said that, I was like, oh, fuck.
But somewhere along the way, they got away with it. So it's like almost a learned behavior
Yes.
that they can use that caveat. Like, sorry, dude, I was at the bar for 5 hours, or
Right? Yeah.
I
I
told
had a bad
you.
day at work, and that's why I was an asshole when I came
Yeah.
home. Like, no, don't talk to me like that.
Right?
No.
Stay at your house.
Yeah.
Find a reason.
Don't call me. You don't have to call me.
No, if you're going to be
No,
mean,
yeah.
But
Go
that's a
home.
hard thing too.
Yeah.
Do you think people don't understand that? Like, if I know somebody's having a moment, I don't pick at them. I just leave them the fuck alone. Do you need anything? No, I'm good. Okay,
Yep.
I'm gonna go. Cause
Right.
I'm not gonna keep just.
Yeah.
Come on, what's wrong? Because when I have people come in my shop and tell me that, they're like, I just want to know what's wrong. I'm like, then what? You're not qualified to fucking, like, they're telling you, no, I'm good.
Right.
Listen to them.
Well, the gross fact is though that sometimes people say that and intentionally want you
Fuck
to
them
chase.
too.
to follow up.
Fuck
They
them
do.
too.
Yeah.
Sorry.
They
Fuck
do.
them.
I'm upset, and they'll go and dramatically go to their bedroom and lay on their bed, and they'll wait for 7 minutes, and then they come back out and like
shuffle
get a drink
around
of water, and then go
violently.
back to their.
I
go
can't
back
cater
their
to
bedroom,
that.
right, yeah.
Like, maybe I'm the asshole, but
Right.
like, I can't cater
But that's
to that.
why some people will intentionally like chicken step towards the bedroom. Like, do you want me to check on you? No, you do. You don't. You don't.
Yeah.
You do. You know, like they don't know. They're just trying to
Right.
like give you what you need. I know.
People are fucking dumb.
That's what I
It's
look
people who don't have good communication skills
Right.
to say, I am upset and this is what I need. I need to go lay down and I don't want you to follow me, but I do want you to hug me before I go lay down. Like, that is okay.
Or I just want a nap. Like, when I'm having
Yes.
a fucking moment, there's moments where I'm just like, I'm gonna just go lay down.
Yes.
I don't want the TV on. I want it quiet.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very specific about that kind of shit. But if you want to come down, cool.
Sure.
You know, sometimes it's more difficult. And sometimes you just need a few minutes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, how long does it take to really, like,
Regroup.
yeah,
It
dude.
depends. It
Depends on how big of a baby they are.
Right.
Sorry.
Sorry, it's all right.
How much they're spun out and
Yeah.
how good their coping skills are. So
Right.
I have a lot of people that I work with that do need to go like lay down in their bed, shut their door. But then, yeah,
I'm not only the president, I'm also a client.
my husband is very similar. He will
Yeah.
when he meets his max, like that's it.
Yeah.
He needs to go lay down. I cannot. I am a doer, so I rather do angry dishes. That's what we call them. So I'll do angry dishes and just like get it out. He needs to go lay down. But lots of people do. You can either lay down and go to sleep. If you're sleeping, how long could that take?
Till I wake up.
20 minutes, 40 minutes, 3
30.
hours? I mean,
30. I like a good, nice,
yeah.
solid 30.
Right. Some people would sleep for 3 hours, though.
Then fuck them, let them sleep.
Let them sleep.
Right.
Some people would go to their
I
bedroom
don't wake
and
up
pull
fucking
out-
angry toddlers. Just to let you know, if
Yeah.
a toddler fucking falls asleep,
You just let
I
him
don't
go.
fucking wake them up and be like, you feeling better, bud? You
Right.
feeling? Come on, let's go.
Right. Right.
What's wrong?
Right. But like some people need to go and read and just lay in their bed and read, or listen to a meditation on YouTube, or like
Strip
there's
club.
yes.
All different kinds of coping mechanisms.
Or snack. I know a lot of people
Right.
who have snacks in their room, and they just need to lay in
Dude,
bed
bring
and
me
like,
some ice cream. You will
know.
find me in a better mood
know.
real fucking quick.
So yeah, so it just depends how quick their rebound is, and it depends what the issue is in the first place. Somebody died, might take them a little bit.
Right.
Stub their toe, you get 15 minutes. Come on.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you guys ever feel like you're out of words? Because I know we're all in the business of words and having to talk and absorb other people's stuff. Yeah. So like I'll say that. I'll declare that at the end of the night. Like, yo, I'm out of words. I'm sorry, I love you. But like,
Yes.
I'm not out of cuss words.
well, yeah, but I can.
I'm
Doesn't
kidding.
know. It's not.
I
as
actually
good.
don't cuss at people. I don't.
Yeah.
I really at work. I don't call people names and cuss at people, because when people do that to me, ooh,
Conversation over.
ooh.
Yeah. I've never used that to say I'm out of words, but I will say like I am emotionally exhausted. Like
Yeah.
I have nothing. I'm going to cook dinner. I can sit at the dinner table and I can talk to you, and it can be super superficial, but like I can't. I just,
That's what I mean. Like
my
I can.
battery, my emotional
Yes.
battery is all the way drained.
And there's a point where it's not going any further. You're
No.
whooping a dead horse.
No.
Yeah.
So
When
put
I'm
it to
like,
fucking
God,
bed.
If you need me, well, I have kids, so I'm like, if you need me, I need you to say I need you. Like, I need you to sit down, because I will muster it up from.
Sure.
Do you remember when you were young and you'd put your feet together with somebody and you do the brake gas thing?
Yes.
That's what you
Me and
should
my
do.
brother do.
When you're feeling that way, just do that with your partner. It'll make everything fucking stop.
A leg war.
Because that's
So me and
you know
my
what I
brother
mean?
used to do that all the time.
And that's, I'm being dead
forgot we
serious.
used to do
Yeah,
that.
just do
Yeah.
that shit.
Or a hamburger bun war.
I thought that
Listen.
that was so fucking funny.
I think that's so real though.
Yes.
Like,
And they said that
So real.
the other aunt, they flew all over the place, and the aunt just picked them up, and then they ate their hamburgers off of it. I was like, we ain't gonna waste that shit.
Oh, no, absolutely not. Nope.
I mean, I have flung some marshmallows with some ill intent.
He also
You know what I
told
mean? Like-
he also told me at Thanksgiving, him and his brother-in-law or his cousin or somebody, they drank a whole bottle of Crown Royal, and he slid under the table, like literally just like that. I
Like
was
off
like,
of his chair.
and he says that the other, like his son-in-law's father, was looking at him like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Needed a nap.
Yeah.
On the ground.
Right.
All right. So if you want quality time, you have to kind of define that, and you kind of have to really make it happen. That doesn't mean special date. That means quality time that you spend
Intentional.
together. I mean, it can mean a special date, because that's beautiful. And honestly, if you really feel like your mate's going to put you on a special date more than 4 times a year, I would love to see it. I would.
Not everybody is like you.
No, I'm saying what I've seen with other people.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
There are guys that, women who will very intentionally be like, I want to do these big things, big elaborate, whatever. But that falls more into gifts to me.
Yeah.
Of like, I'm going to take you on
I'm
this
saying
trip
if
and
you
I'm
want
going to like
quality
spoil
time,
you
understand
this way. Yeah.
who you're
Right.
fucking with.
Yeah.
Understand that if you're with a dude who can barely tie a tie or can even tie a tie, I'm going to assume he's probably not a good date planner. Is that fair?
Depends.
Well, a special date.
But you
Define
I
what
think
special
you-
is. No, because I
yeah.
keep asking girls. Since we've
Right.
talked about this, I ask girls, what do you consider special?
I want something, if it's special, I want something that means something to me. So a special date for me would be taking me to the county fair that I grew up in that costs like $3.
No, okay, that's dope.
Right. Yeah,
but
but
you
you know
can
what I mean,
explain
like-
it. You can put it to words, Kelly. What I'm saying is, when I'm asking specific,
Yeah.
this is why I'm so angry, because I asked specifically all these women,
Yeah.
what is it that's special, and they can't tell me. I'm like, then how do you want him to fucking get it right?
I know. Well, I think you're right. It's because I can express it, because I am a giver, and I will go to any concert, and I will watch any movie, and I will eat any food. It doesn't matter.
Right.
But if it's special, I do kind of want it to be about me. Like, take me to my favorite restaurant, or take me to a movie that you really don't have any desire to see. But like
Right.
that's I guess what would make it special for me. Keep me
I
in
miss
mind.
going to movies.
They're
My
all
husband and I
closing.
went to the first movie together in 4 years.
I miss
like
going
3
to
weeks
movies.
ago. I was like, we've never been to a movie.
COVID got you out of the rhythm of going to movies, man.
Yeah.
I miss going to movies.
And everything's closing now. People got used to watching them at home and paying for the
Yeah, you can
Netflix
just pay
stuff.
for it,
So
right?
I love movies.
It is. That's
Me
special.
and my
experience.
daughters
Yeah,
always
that's
went to
special for
movies.
me. Yeah.
Yeah, I think even with Justin, I think I went and seen
You had a
most of the
special
Lord
date
of the
with
Rings.
Justin?
Was it you, Justin? I think so. Well, I think
That
it was
was your
Rob.
other-
It was Rob. I remember now. Yeah.
I think he
Your other
wanted it to be you,
bromance.
Justin.
He's like, now I
Sorry.
feel like.
I wanted
Yeah.
it to be you, bud. I got to see Justin play a show on Friday night. He was rocking out,
Right on.
drinking Jack Daniels.
The bottle you got him?
No, he might have snuck it in.
No.
I don't know. He was at a bar. I was so.
Oh, no, it's still brand new. Not even cracked yet.
All right, so quality time.
All right. Words of affirmation are number 4.
Fuck, here we are.
All right. So it says one way to define words of affirmation would be words of appreciation or words of praise. So there are quizzes that you can take online, right, to try to determine what your love language is. And it's actually an either or, like would you rather type of situation. And when it talks about words of affirmation, it will say like, would you rather get...
Is this like F, Marry, Kill?
Yes.
You can't get it
I
wrong.
love that.
Yeah.
I love that game.
Dude, it makes people so fucking uncomfortable.
I know.
I was way too good at it. And they're like, why in the fuck am I
You're
deciding
just
on
bam,
this?
bam,
Yeah,
bam.
right.
Right, I can see it.
Yeah.
So words of affirmation would be like, I think you're beautiful. You mean a lot to me. Anything.
I love
And-
how you cook for our family.
Sure.
I love how you do things for us that are so
These
thoughtful. And
can be text messages, the big, long, sappy ones that you get every once in a while, or like the good morning text consistently every single day. Those are words of affirmation. The Post-it that they put on your steering wheel,
yeah,
the birthday card that they actually write in
right.
and they save it.
That's pretty good stuff.
Yeah. Those
Do
are all
most
words of
people like words of affirmation? I'd imagine.
I actually think that words of affirmation is deeply rooted in childhood.
Agreed.
Would it be?
Yeah.
Yes.
See, I've had words of affirmation my whole life,
I have not.
so it doesn't
Ever
even
had
faze
words of
me. It
affirmation.
doesn't faze me
Yeah.
at all.
So when someone gives you an affirmation, then
Yeah.
does it radiate that much heavier? Because
It more makes me uncomfortable, to be completely
Yeah.
honest. Like,
No shit.
yes.
yeah, because you never learned how to navigate that as
I don't know what that is, and I have had to learn how to do that. But when I get off the phone with my husband, my best friend, my kids, whoever, I will say, "Okay, love you, bye." Like,
Is that why gifts freak me out?
maybe
Because I didn't get a lot
you
of
didn't
gifts.
get them.
No, fuck
So
no.
like to get them was
I mean, not
like,
that my parents didn't, but I'm saying
Right,
like
yeah,
not.
right.
There was good years and okay years and stuff. I mean, they tried and they
Yeah,
killed
sure,
it,
right.
but it makes me real uncomfortable.
Yeah, I can't tell you. My mom actually, she told me the other day, she was like, I told your brother that I loved him and he didn't say it back. And I was like, that's because you never say that shit. He probably was like, what?
Yeah, she's drinking.
Well, we know, but my mom and my dad, like I have to
Right.
intentionally say it for them to say it back. And it's not because they don't mean it. It's just because we didn't do
One
that.
of my best friends was in his 40s, and he started telling his dad he loves him, and his dad was so weirded out at first.
Yeah.
And fast forward another, 15 years, up until he recently passed away. Every time he'd start
Yeah.
saying it.
Right,
Right.
yeah.
You know what I mean? And I learned from watching him go through that. I was like, wow, you can, and his dad was a man, like a man's man. Like he was no bullshit. You know what I mean?
Right.
But you could tell he was like, well, what do you mean you love me? You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
So I
Right.
thought that was beautiful.
When my husband gets overly verbal and like, I'm like, I love you too. I'm not right. Yeah, right. Hand hug. Like, it was hard. It was hard for me in the past because I can text it, I can write it, I can do all of the, but to like verbalize that, especially like eyeball to eyeball,
Right.
no.
Yeah.
It was hard for me.
I love words of affirmation to give them. I do. But that's one thing that was the gift in my family.
Yeah.
How powerful is it though to be able to ask for what you need?
Yes.
So like if you need those words of affirmation or if physical touch is hard for you, to be able to say that, like, I appreciate when someone goes out and does that, because that's straight up vulnerability at that point. Or to tell the story that they did not hear that growing up.
Yeah.
So they don't know how to give that now or how to receive it now. Like there's
Is that stuff that should be kind of worked out in the early parts of this too? That's hard to find out like 2 years in.
It often is stuff that is found out 2 years.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like,
But
why
then-
is it so hard for people to like just right off the rip, like, let's take this test? That's a good first fucking couple
and
dates.
they do in premarital counseling. They touch on a lot of this stuff, but there is a honeymoon period where you are just giving affection in all of these ways, but then you revert back to your natural like expression.
Yeah.
And that's when people are like, why did you do this in the first place? And now all the, pizzazz is gone, the spark is gone. And it's like, well,
What do we call that? Love bombing.
love bombing. Right. Well, that's unhealthy. We're talking about normal, healthy ways of expressing affection. But when that
Breadcrumbing.
you fall back into your old ways. I am not a super verbal words of affirmation person. I'm a huge physical touch
You're really
person.
not?
I'm really not.
I'm surprised by that.
I know.
Because you're so good with words.
Right. Well, I talk all goddamn day.
Yeah, but
I'm all
talking
worded
to a
out.
client or talking
Yeah.
to someone else is different than, like you said, that eye-to-eye contact with someone that you're
Yeah.
in a relationship with, you're raising babies. That's a totally different.
I'm a huge acts of service person. I'm a
Right.
huge gift person. I'm a huge quality time person, physical touch, all of those things. Words, it's about my vulnerability, not about giving them what they need. It's about me letting my wall down
Maybe it's the quality time is the only one I really struggle with.
because you don't understand it. Like you
I
can have my
do.
time, but you don't know how to make it quality.
Obviously.
I know.
I mean, I understand what basic quality time is, but holding somebody over the fucking coals, you know what I mean? Because you're like, no, it's not enough quality.
No.
Like, well, you're like, again, your 100% and my 100% is
Right.
different,
Yeah.
you know? And it's
Yeah.
like, I just, because when I see people coming in and so stressed out about it, it's not just my own personal shit. Like, obviously, I know how to get through some quality time because I do enjoy it. Like, I do.
Sure.
You guys have witnessed
Yeah,
me. Like,
absolutely.
I truly
Yeah. No,
do
you do.
enjoy that.
Right.
You know what I mean? But when you're held, like, I still have to get shit done. I mean, I do. I still have to get shit done. Oh, Justin's getting a phone call. You got to go, Jay? We busy? Mike? You're going to wake up
Push
the
silent.
puppy, dude. Princeton's in there sleeping on Mike, probably.
Well, and so actually, I was just like skimming over this, and it just triggered something in my head that it is just as important to know what your partner's love language is for good and bad. Because if you are a words of affirmation person and they are vindictive and malicious with their word, like you can cause a lot of damage. Because
You
if
need
they
to
really,
walk some people through that shit because
I know. So if
Well, I
we
like
go
the dark
back,
turn in this. Let's go.
Let's go back. So acts of service. So if your love language is acts of service and somebody is unintentionally or intentionally, which why would you be with that person? But like adding things to your plate, that will throw your relationship
taking
on
advantage
the
of it?
rocks. Yes,
Yeah.
like just putting your dishes in the sink. As opposed to doing them or not following through, like we talked about last time.
don't give me that dishes shit again. Oof.
Or if you say that you're going to mow the grass and then you don't. or
Without
if
good
you-
reason.
Yeah, like if your love language is acts of service, this is also something to keep in mind because that's where their sensitivity is going to be. Quality time. Oh, the next one is receiving gifts. I can't tell you how many people I have talked to that really don't even care about gifts, but if you give a meaningless one or something that's like way off the mark, that they're like, do you even know me?
It triggers some shit in you.
Yes, like
No, it's
you
like when your
know
grandma
that I
or your
don't
grandma buys
write.
your cousins these dope ass shit and she hands you
Yes.
like some dumb shit and you're like, you bitch.
Right, like and I'm your person, right? Like you could have gotten me a Snickers bar
Are you
and a
though?
lottery ticket, and you got me I don't even know what.
Some
I'd rather
Laffy
n-
Taffy.
Right, Takis. I hate spicy shit. Why would you buy me Takis? You
I'd
know what I
rather
mean?
not
Like,
get the gift.
yeah,
Like
and then have a bad one, and I
Yeah.
hate, like that sounds unappreciative, but it
Right.
for people who are big on receiving intentional, meaningful gifts, that is a big
So they can manipulate
dig.
it.
Yes.
Dicks.
Quality time. You blow
Ugh.
me. I am a quality time. If you blow me off, I will cry. I hate it. I hate that I cry. But if you blow me, it's true. But if you bail at the last minute,
is
Right.
my face leaking?
Well, that just means you were really looking forward to it too,
Yes,
and you
right.
needed it, and you acknowledged that you needed that quality
Yes,
time.
right.
So yeah, I can see being offended by that.
and I have to talk myself down because I know it's just a trigger because quality time is important to me, and the people who are closest to me would never intentionally blow me
Right.
off. But it doesn't take
Doesn't
away
hurt.
from the.
Doesn't help.
No, it doesn't take away from the disappointment
Right.
because quality time is super important to me.
Yeah.
So if you know that somebody is big on quality time and you are always distracted by your phone, you never give them one-on-one, you always make it all about you and doing what you want to do, and you're never willing to do what the other person wants to do, like
That's a whole nother show.
That's a whole wedge to
So
dig.
be leery, or just be not leery. Be conscious of
Yes.
what someone's doing. But honestly, like you said, if somebody's doing that kind of shit, why are you with them at all?
Well, sure. Well, and words of affirmation. That's where we left off. Is like if somebody needs to be verbally built up and affirmed
I know
and
people like that.
validated. Absolutely. And you use your words to hurt them.
I have a good friend like that, man, because he never got it as a kid, and he just
Yes.
works. He crosses every T, dots. He works harder. I mean, honestly, he's one of the hardest working guys I know. You know him, and that's all he needs to be praised.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. It's so crazy because I was like, dude, he's such a stellar human. He's so full of love, and he's so helpful, and that's all he ever wanted. And he's growing. He's doing better with it now. But it broke my heart because I was like, who wouldn't be super proud of you?
Right.
Like, I would be so fucking proud of you. You're so lovely and like just so awesome and smart and funny and just, I mean, like
But
all that shit.
for that
Got good
person
hair.
Right.
who needs those things, if you told him verbally that he's a piece of shit and that he failed and that he's not good or that he's stupid or what, like, your love
uncomfortable with you even
languages,
saying that around him.
I know. The love languages are double.
Yeah.
Right.
They're twofold. So
Man. I would
Something
fuck
to keep in
somebody up
mind.
if they
I
said that
know.
about him.
well,
I would
because
too.
you know how important it is.
Yeah.
All right, so the last one is physical touch.
What's that?
You just poke people. If you feel comfortable, loved, and secure when you're physically connected with your partner, then physical touch might be your primary love language. It's about using your body to express connection and love.
Up my body. Okay. People like physical touch. Is it always the dude that wants physical touch?
No.
No, absolutely not.
Really?
No. I'm quality time and physical touch, I would say. Top. Acts of service kind of like fluctuates in there, but yeah. The difference is, I will say the biggest gripe I get is that women really want physical touch, but that doesn't mean sex.
Whoa.
It does.
Let's break this down for people.
A lot of women just want like you to hold their hand or play with their hair or rub their back, touch their leg with no intention of it going anywhere.
See, guys don't understand that.
They don't.
Why do you think this is so?
I like that proximity of space.
Yes.
Like if we're out to dinner and like we're with another couple and you put your hand on my leg, like just under
Yes.
the table, not as in the like,
Right. You're not feeling up my skirt. Like
Right.
you just touch my knee.
yeah, just
Right.
like, hey, I'm here next to you. Like I'm sharing this space in this moment with you kind of stuff. Like, yeah, I mean,
It's the biggest gripe because
Why do you think guys don't understand that?
I think that scientifically your body responds differently to touch.
Sure.
I do think it is a biological component there that like they're aroused easier.
Yeah. I heard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So but like that's what men in the couples counseling that I do, they don't understand that if you start to initiate connection physically with your spouse at noon with no intent of getting laid at noon
Does it come across too harsh with
at
girls?
9 p.m. Well, because they're busy. They're always busy and they're not in the headspace. Women have to like get in the right headspace in
Right.
order to be able to like
Yeah, it's a whole system
have an
with you guys.
orgasm. You
It's
know
a
what?
whole
Like
system.
that's the goal.
it's really not fair that guys can like
I know,
are immediately on the clock
yeah.
and it takes just a little bit
Yeah.
longer sometimes.
So if you rub her back while she's doing dishes at noon, and then at 1 you come in and sit on the couch with her and just rub her leg and ask her what she's doing, and then at 2
Ask
walk
her-
by her and play with her hair, like that
Listen
dosing
up, boys.
of physical touch. It's true that dosing of physical touch
Have
will
you seen
make
that
her
work with
feel
couples?
yes.
Yeah.
Well,
All
I'm
of the
being
time.
honest.
Yeah,
Like,
no,
these
I
guys
have.
need to hear that shit.
All of the
Yeah.
time.
This isn't one of my fuck
Yes,
ups.
right.
It's not.
All
you know
of
what
the
I
time.
mean? Like,
All of the time. Because
So-
I have had a lot of couples who struggle with sexual intimacy after weeks or months, a big long chunk of time for them, and they don't know how to start back up. And I'm like, okay, well, like, not with sex or foreplay. Like, that is all the way off the table. We need to start with like
Courting
small
again.
doses of physical touch, which feels icky for couples who are not well. Like, they don't want to be touched. But I'm like, I have to like almost promise, he's not going to try to have sex with you.
Right.
You need to try to not have sex with her. You need to hold her hand during
Like when
this
you first start
movie.
dating.
Yes, you need to play with her hair. You need to kiss her for like 2 seconds instead of just the gradual buildup, because a lot of people, even if physical touch is not their top priority or their top love language, it is a huge facet of intimacy. Like they need it. They need
It's kind
that
of a
connection.
respect thing too,
Yes.
isn't it?
Yes.
Like reading your partner. Vice versa too. I'm sure there's some boys that need a little more stoking.
Yeah,
for the fire.
absolutely.
Right? You can't just
I
be
have
like, hey,
couples,
make it hard. I'm going to come back and sit on that.
Yes, it goes both ways.
Well, I'm sure that's happening to
It does.
someone.
Yes. No, I have a couple right now that I'm working with that like
And
it
she's
is
like,
flipped.
listen, you got to put out, son.
We gotta
wrong with
get
you?
back. But I'm like, okay, but it's almost worse when it's that way, because men get a bad rap for like, you should just be able to like perform.
We're people too.
Yes. And
We have
she's like, what do you
feelings.
mean? Like,
Far less of them, but we have them.
well, this individual needs connection, and the connection that they're having is not a strong one. So I'm like, okay, it's not fair to just be like, well, I don't understand why he can't. Well, why can't other women or men like
You've never talked to any of your girlfriends?
yes,
Like you don't
there's
understand?
Lots of people. Yes.
You need to say that again. You don't understand?
You don't understand how humans work.
Because you didn't do the dishes, ma'am.
Well, and I hear that most often from men is like, she won't put out. And I'm like, okay, that's fair. And women are like, well, he doesn't do the things to get me there. By the time I'm done doing all of the things, it's 11 o'clock at night, and like, fuck you.
You're tired.
I'm tired, and I have done all the things, and you have been sitting in your office
And you haven't been
scrolling through
sweet all
TikTok
day.
for the last hour,
And vice
waiting
versa.
for me to be done
Vice versa.
so that we can go to bed. No.
Oof.
I know.
Do you think people should go to bed at the same time?
I do.
Generally.
Yes.
Makes sense.
Yes. No fighting in the bedroom, and you go to bed at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unless your schedules are completely
Yeah, well,
different.
yeah, sure.
Right.
Yeah. But like,
My one client said she worked first shift, he worked second shift their whole entire relationship, and it works out beautifully. He's a homebody, and she gets to go do dope ass
Yeah,
stuff, and he
right.
loves it, and and then they go do some dope stuff together, but they have
she
their
gets her
own.
needs met by her village. That's
Yeah.
fine.
Right.
That is okay.
Yeah.
That is probably healthier.
It probably is way healthier.
Yes.
Because your expectations, if you're both off at 4:30, 5 o'clock, and you're looking at each other like, okay, you're on the clock now.
Right.
We have to go
we
through
go.
A, B, C, and D,
Right.
and then, hopefully make out at the end of it.
Yeah. I think in an
She won't put out. It's like,
no, it's true. I mean, like, sometimes I told you, when they come to me, they're broken and raw, and they're like, listen, she's not putting out, and she's like, he doesn't touch the kids. He hasn't touched the kids in 6 months. He doesn't bathe them. He doesn't feed them. He doesn't get them dressed in the morning. I did not have 3 children with somebody who doesn't want children. This was a whole process. We've accumulated these children for the last 7 years.
you're like, he'll be better with the second one.
No.
He'll be better with the third one.
I think you really have to look at the garden that your partner grew up in and like really look at the
The
parents
skills that
and
they have.
listen to the stories that they tell, because like if they never got the words of affirmation, that's why they can't say it
Yeah,
out
right,
loud.
yeah.
If they were never touched in a loving way, that's probably why they flinch
Yes.
when you
Right.
touch them.
Right.
So like I think it's just, I don't know.
Yeah.
Don't take your situations for granted, because there's a lot of people that grew up in worse,
Yeah,
situations.
or just different.
Yeah.
Different. I had a phenomenal childhood. My parents just didn't say the crap. Like, they just didn't
So
say
that's
it.
where
They
you
just
lack.
Yeah,
That's where you
that's
lack.
where I lack, and I understand that. And my husband is not a huge words of affirmation person. So like, thank God.
Yeah,
if he
that
is,
works out for you.
I would have to like really be intentional, but I know that's where I lack. So instead of saying the things, I do very intentionally write in cards, send text messages.
Right.
But I buy cards every time I go to the grocery store almost, and I just like put them in his work bag. That way he just like finds them at some
That's
point just to
cute.
like remember. but like,
And some people that wouldn't mean 2 fucks. They'd be mad that you spent $4 on it.
Yeah, he saves them. I don't know.
Dude, my stepdad hates when people buy cards for him.
Really?
So I started making cards. Yes, I started making cards.
They're expensive. Why are cards so expensive?
Because they get you.
We should talk about
Yep.
that.
You
Like
fuckers.
$7 for
Right.
a card.
So I make cards for him. I
just
made
make
the
'em?
most ridiculous card in the world for him
Does
today.
he love them?
Oh my God, he laughed so fucking hard at this one because it was over the top and super inappropriate.
Good for you.
So good.
You knew who you were talking to.
Yeah, man. It's
Yeah.
Father's Day. What's up?
Well-
He says that an old man, they were on a job, and this old man was there, and these boys were all talking about girl problems and all this crap. And a guy said my dad, who's nuts. My stepdad is crazy. He says the old man pretended like he spit in his hand and made a certain gesture and says, "Money in the bank, boys. Money in the bank." So what do you think I drew on the card? A hand in a certain moment.
Yes.
It said, "Money in the bank."
There you go.
Oh, so funny. It was so good.
Lord.
I know, but he loves
loved
it.
it.
Yeah, because
he
I
loved
make
it,
and I
right.
made him a card for his birthday.
Yes.
And it's, that's my new thing with him because I love him, and that he expressed what he would prefer.
Yes.
And most people don't listen, and I'm trying to be really better at that with every person in my life.
Mm-hmm.
That if you're expressing to me what you need or don't need, I'm going to do my best to facilitate that.
Right.
That's all.
So like in the morning I leave for work before my partner leaves for work, and so I will write him a note and I'll leave it on the counter or whatever, and like it wasn't bothering me that he wasn't writing a note back. Like I wasn't really like looking at it, but like the one morning I was like, all his note said was "your turn," and I left the marker out. And then when I came home from work, he was still at work and there was a note waiting for me, and I
That's
was like,
cute because you actually
yeah. And like I said, I wasn't keeping score. It wasn't anything.
Right.
But I was just like, dude, that's your turn.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this would make me feel good.
Yeah. And I came home and there was a note there. And I was like, okay. I was like, good note to self. Like just a little bit of a nudge.
Yes.
But it's also the result of asking for what I needed. Like I can't
Yes.
expect him to read my mind
You just
on
thought
that.
you were being cute.
Yeah.
How long did it take for you to develop that skill?
I'm 45.
Right. Yeah.
But I'm saying,
I mean-
well, I was curious, was that a thing that you've always been able to do very well, or is it something that's gotten more honed in and better?
Better defined as I've gotten older. Those boundaries have been better established, and there's less opportunity to crawl over the wall without,
Yeah.
Right. I was
Checking.
just curious about that because that's kind of inspirational to people too. Like, this isn't an overnight thing.
Oh no.
I was a horrible 20-some-year-old boy. I was feral. I didn't have proper leadership as far as always the right things to do. And I had way too much testosterone. I had a lot going on. I didn't know how to deal with my own feelings. And each 10 years, it's like I can feel it. Like, okay, I can just, I'm feeling like.
I think it has to be a conscious choice though. Like I
Has to
think
be
you have to
discipline.
say like, I want to get better at this, or I want to alleviate this tension in the relationship. So I have to step forward, and there's some vulnerability with that. I mean, if I had left that and he hadn't written a note back, like I've been like, all right, I'm going to kick your ass later,
yeah, right.
but no dinner for you. But there's,
Well, you have to
don't know.
identify what an issue is that you play a part in, and it's not always. I know we go through this and we say like, oh, everything's a two-way street. It's not always.
Fuck
It's
no.
not.
Not
always.
if somebody doesn't understand it. There's things
Right.
I don't understand.
Right.
You could tell me
Right.
till the cows come home, and I'm like
Right.
this, and this still bothers you.
Right.
You just explained it to me, and you're still thinking this should bother you. Because that's just how my fucking brain works.
Right.
And I try to be like, okay, well, I'm gonna try to fucking work on this,
Right.
and it's hard, man.
So there are issues that will come up in a relationship where you can take a step back and be like, you know what? I bet if I tweaked this, I would benefit from it. You would benefit from it. And there's other times where you're like, I don't know how to help you with this. I have paused and reflected and taken a step back, and I don't know my role. So I need you to explain what my role is.
Needs to be.
Right.
Yeah. What do you need from me? Because I love you and I want to fix this, but I have done all of the things. I've stepping back, I've stepping in. I have tried
Right. Every angle.
to try to figure.
Of.
Yeah, every angle that I know of, and I can't figure it out, and I can't read your mind. So like, I need you to just say.
And unfortunately, sometimes they don't know either.
No.
Right?
No. I have a couple right now that's going through that. She's really struggling with like trying to find the words to like, because she knows something's missing, but she can't figure out what it is. And her husband is like, if you just tell me.
You ready for my dickhead comment?
Go ahead.
Then how big of a fucking deal is it?
It causes her to cry during session.
Lots of things cause people to cry.
know.
I'll watch commercials sometimes. It hits me where it feels.
I know.
Yeah, but if she's crying with you in a
Yeah.
session, imagine how stale it is at home
Right.
when she's not feeling
Right.
like she can articulate it in a safe
Right.
Space.
Right.
So, like, I feel for them because that's
know.
when you hit that stalemate, that's tough.
It is. And we sit there and thankfully her spouse is not a dick. He is very much sitting there going,
I just need to know.
I will do whatever it is.
That's very sweet.
I will do whatever it is, but like I can't put my finger on it, and unfortunately she hasn't been able to either.
That's gotta
so
be a
we
struggle.
gotta try to unpack all of that. And sometimes it has nothing to do with the relationship. That's when sometimes I refer people to individual counseling
Right.
because I'm like, sweetie, like this might be something you might have to unpack it outside of our couples hour.
Or put the lid on it.
Yeah.
Put it up in the
Right.
thing.
Like you might need you need additional support so that you can process through that, and then you can bring those answers back to a couples counseling session, because that's my job, is to try to mend your relationship.
So
I do individuals, but she's not my individual.
on the clinical side of it, is it better for a couple, like just to go to a counselor together, or should they seek help individually and then come together after they've kind of talked it out? Like, is there a theory behind that? I've never really.
I've had both. A lot of people do a lot of different things. So I think it works best on my end as a couples counselor if each individual has done their own work.
Sure.
And they're more aware, right? Like that's like, here's all the tools and then go to fix the house, so that's easier. But there's still stuff to work through because every clinician is different. So sometimes I get people that they're like, well, my therapist said this. And they're like, well, my therapist said this. And I was like, I don't agree with either one of those things. Like probably somewhere in the middle, because everybody has their own treatment modality and their own goals and their own way of doing things. And so it helps because they usually have some more awareness. But I would say more often than not, I have a couple that one has been in therapy or none have been in therapy. And almost always I end up having to say, like, we are spending a lot of the time here together talking about individual issues. And just for like efficiency's sake, I feel like it would be better if you guys each got your own person, because you both have some baggage, which is fine. Everybody does. But this would be a lot more efficient if you used another hour with another person and then brought some clarity to here.
We stress that a lot.
Yeah.
Find out what's going on with yourself before you make it somebody else's problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a big advocate for having a therapist on speed dial. I think everyone needs one.
Yes.
You may not need one every month of your entire life, but to have someone that can give it back to you, that's not your family, that's not your friends,
Correct.
that's only going to advocate for you and your whole health wellness.
Right.
Like everyone should have that.
Agreed.
I don't know.
I tell people all the time, I'm like, go when you're healthy.
Right.
Don't wait
until you're at
you are
crisis.
in the trenches and need somebody to help pull you out. Because as a clinician, you need to know the person to help understand even what it is that they are coming out to. Like, what is your healthy baseline? What do you even want to be doing here? So, yeah, I have a therapist. I haven't met with her in 6 months.
But if you called that
But
right there.
and she knows me, and we've worked together on and off for years at this point, and I know that I could call her or message her through her email and say, I need a session in the next 3 days, and she would put me on, and I don't have to like revisit all of the stuff.
Right. Just tune up what you need.
She doesn't even care. I don't have to fill her in at all. I can be like, there's a man and a girl and a boy, and these are the things that we're talking about. Like, I don't need to fill her in as to who it is or what I have going on, because she's good and I know her. But oftentimes people wait till their car is blown up on the side of the highway, and they're like, my car is broken.
And I would encourage people to find someone that they are comfortable talking to, because if you are faking it, and just
the
trying
worst.
to put out there what you think the therapist wants to hear because it's
Or
not
to get
a
the
good
answers that would affirm.
Yeah, or if you're with
bullshit.
Yeah, if
your
they want me to co-sign their
partner
bullshit, yeah.
and you're only doing it for that reason, like find the one that meshes with you.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I went through a handful of different people until I found
Yes.
someone that I actually wanted to talk to.
Yeah, therapists
and
are
that
like
helps.
shoes.
Yeah.
I got
Like, you
lucky.
c-
The
you-
second one I got was super dope. Super duper, like changed my life dope.
Yeah, mine was the first one.
So we talked about this before when couples go to therapy, and the person that demands that they go to therapy because they want to be, validated completely, they usually
Yes.
walk in, and then the therapist goes, "Yeah, you're full of shit," and the other person's like,
That's not what I say, but often.
"With your eyes, you do.
Yeah.
You're like this."
I am very skilled in my ability to say, like, break that down, or like, tell me more, or what I think I hear you saying is this, and I will reframe it for them to help them with the verbiage of like, you could probably say that a different way.
Yeah.
Sounds angry, sounds accusatory. Could we switch that into an I statement where like it's more about how you feel as opposed to what the other person is doing?
Well, I think he's being a dick.
No?
I think he locked me in a closet for 2 hours.
I feel attacked when people lock me in a closet.
Use your words, folks.
Right.
Use your words, not your closet.
And take accountability for how you feel.
Right.
It is nobody else's fault how you feel.
No.
You take in information and you determine what your emotional response is.
That's hard for people to understand.
It is.
100%. Super hard. I'm going to check our messages real quick.
All right.
I had a client the other day. She was saying her husband goes back and forth about having some issues drinking. And she realized that she goes, because I talked to her last time and I was kind of struggling, and she was like, I kind of just chilled out on him and it got better. And I was like, yeah?
Right.
And but we
'Cause
were
you know what
talking.
makes me want to drink? Being nagged
Right.
about it.
You know what she said? She goes, I realized I was trying to talk about him drinking while he was drinking. And I was like, and when she said it out loud, I was like, you saying that out loud.
Click for you a little bit?
And she's like, yeah, because it's kind of pointless to talk to somebody
Yes.
while they're drinking and expecting, no, we're going to talk about this. It's like, probably not going to end well. I go, it's like your kid messing up in front of their friends and just kind of being a dick, and you completely embarrassing them and showing, like, really fucking them up in front of their friends.
Right.
Versus when you get them alone and go, hey, that's one.
Right.
But when you do that, this is why. Well, they're going to react totally different
Yes.
Right.
than,
And they're not, when all their walls aren't up and they're not embarrassed and humiliated and angry and defensive and yeah.
I brought up to her as well because she's, a good mama. And I go, treat him with the same grace you treat your children. Do you feel like you do, and the same patience? And she was like, no. And I was like, he probably deserves it too. You know what I mean?
He's somebody's kid.
Yeah, he's a good guy. I know him. You know what I mean? He's a sweetheart of a guy. I say he's one of those guys that's so sweet he should be a kindergarten teacher. But he struggles, you know what I mean? Because I think his purpose he's kind of just mulling along, you know what I mean? And, it sucks, man.
I think it's hard to be a person without purpose. Yeah. Like if you're floundering like that and just trying to figure it out. And I mean, I've had those moments where I'm like,
Yeah.
that's not a good feeling.
At all. It gets dangerous too, because then you start having too much free time to really fuck with other people.
Yeah.
And go down spirals and just
So if you guys got anything you want to talk about or send us some text, like I said, we got one more thing to film and then we're taking a brief moment off. It's 234-200-5949. We're trying to find Mike a new wife. If you know anybody.
no pressure. That's
No
not fair.
pressure at all, but we're trying to find him a new wife. So if anybody wants to get married, he lives in a nice house. He's got a fireplace, a fenced-in yard.
Shag rug in front of the fireplace.
He could shag on that rug in front of the...
I hope he TPs your house tonight.
He'd go right ahead.
Yes.
I'm going on a motorcycle trip with him. He probably don't want to do that.
I'm sure he just rolls his eyes in that other room every single time.
He probably does. He's probably like this. Oh, shit. Charmin, listen, it's post-COVID. We could probably get rid of some toilet paper now.
That's true. We could pull.
Somebody
Stop.
said that the other day. They said, we can tell we're okay because somebody's house got TP.
Oh my
It
gosh.
was
I
pretty
hope
good
my
stuff.
kids TP somebody's house someday.
Really?
Because that's
Rites of passage.
well, and it's like innocent kid shit.
Oh, I gotta know. I got a question because I was talking about this week too. Before we wrap up today, I think. Do you think? I know what I think. I'm asking you guys. Do you think that if your person you're talking to has shitty taste in music, you should just walk away?
This is such a sensitive subject.
Like honestly, has it ever worked out worth a shit
so
with
now
somebody with bad music
I have
taste?
to think about what I consider bad music taste.
And it is personal.
I know, right? Yeah,
I'm
because
not
your bad
saying-
music isn't my bad music, isn't your bad music. So I have to think about what would be bad music.
I don't know if I could do a road trip listening to K-pop or something.
Yeah.
Like,
He's obsessed with it.
yeah, like
Oh my god.
I'm a music snob though, so that's not quite a fair question.
I
like
wouldn't
I have
call
strong,
you a snob. You're,
but I have
You're
opinions.
eclectic.
Yeah,
I'm also very eclectic.
yeah.
So like I guess it's I have never met or tried to date somebody who listened to music that I hated.
No.
No.
I mean, I've dated some guys that were into death metal, and that's tough sometimes for me.
That's a hard pass,
me.
huh?
Right.
It's a little tough. I can handle it in some doses, but I'm not sure I can handle it in the car on the way to the grocery store on Sunday morning and on the way home and all
While
of
you're
it.
making love.
Yeah.
Oh God.
No.
Interesting rhythm. Yeah.
No, my husband is into death metal.
Exactly.
And it was hard for me because I said I was like screaming is the one thing that I can't, and then he not
He's like,
pressuring
how
me,
do you
but
feel
took.
with pig noises?
I love the pig noises now, but he took the time when I was in an open state of mind to like pull up YouTube and show me the technique and skill that goes into like it's
You're a
talent.
patient woman.
I am. Now I love it. Like we're going to see Lorna Shore next month.
There you go.
Jesus.
I was like, all right. He's like, are you gonna wear earplugs? I'm like, no, because
We
I can
should.
appreciate what it is. Like, so
But
as
it's
long
really
as
loud.
yeah, it is very loud.
I just saw this meme the other day that said, I enjoy all genres of music. I am polyamorous. And I fucking loved it. I printed it out. It's hanging on my office door. So when you walk in and like even my boss looked at it and was like, we might need t-shirts that say that. I'm like, for real, like
that's good.
all genres. I'm polyamorous.
Right.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I like it.
But I've noticed people like they get real frustrated with that shit. Like then don't date them because like that's not going away.
No,
Right.
that is deep rooted in like their soul.
Yeah.
There's like a whole study on the neurology of your brain and music that said that the music that you listen to between 18 and 22 sets like the type of music that you will gravitate towards for the rest of your life. Not that you
Seriously?
can't, yes, because your brain is developing, especially in men at that age, how the brain is developing and how
Wait,
it's
my
receiving.
brain's going to
true?
develop.
18
18 to 22.
Is that true?
Do you still
Pause
listen?
and reflect
What did
back.
you listen to in your car
Right
when you
after
were
high
18
school.
years old? Yeah.
18.
If you say Faith No More.
No, I mean I like Faith No More. 18. Oh fuck, do you know? Not what I did, but what you did. I'm trying to think. what
I
I
am
was doing.
much more in tune with what I listened to in high school than what I did in college.
Actually, I'm a little off because it was probably 16 to 18.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
same.
still listen to those bands.
Same.
Sure.
That's what
18
mine
to 22, I was listening to White Zombie, Marilyn Manson, stuff. I don't listen to any of that shit anymore. But like what I listened to
yeah.
from 16 to 18, I still can
Same.
put on
Same.
and never skip a song.
Right.
Yeah, mine was Hinder, Seether,
Oh, Jesus.
Chevelle.
Angry Boy Rock.
Yeah.
You know, we
That's what
played
I
a
like it,
show
though.
with
It
Chevelle.
was- yeah, that's what my high school was like, that grunge.
That's
grunge
so
rock.
funny.
I know.
Chevelle came through. We were
Love
playing
it.
a show, and they actually played with us. They just had a day
Mm-hmm.
off, and they just came in and played before their first record before anybody knew who they were.
Mm-hmm.
It was when there's still three brothers.
Yeah.
I mean, music is my love language.
Same.
Like
Same.
I know it. So
Right.
like
That's how I knew my husband was my person, because we like dated. We went on like 3 dates, and then I went on vacation because I was like, if it doesn't go well, I'm leaving for like 2 weeks. I'll just ghost him.
Right.
But why we were,
Wow.
it's fair. That's fair. It lined up. But the whole time I was gone, we started like texting each other back and forth, like videos and like music. And he was like, do you know who this person is? And I was like, I do. Do you know who this person is?
That's
and he was like, oh
awesome.
my God.
It does
Yes.
make a big difference.
It makes a
Yes.
huge difference. We can go on any road trip and just jam out no matter what. We can listen to Beach Boys or musicals.
It is a very well, it just takes one less thing, a
Off
shitty thing off
yes,
the you know what I
right.
mean? Like it's hard enough to like, what do you eat? How do you sleep?
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
how long do you take in a fucking shower?
Yeah.
But when it's like the simplest thing that like you can't get away from,
Nope.
like I can work around your shower. I can get up
Yeah,
earlier.
I don't care.
I can't work around being in a fucking car if you listen to some garbage ass music.
Well, and
Like I don't want to date a girl who listens to fucking trap music all the time.
No.
Like I would just be like this.
I mean, music is what I do for a living. So
Right.
when I'm working an 80-hour week in the middle of summer and it's concerts every night and that
Yeah.
kind of stuff, it is definitely helpful if whom I'm dating is somewhat into the same scene.
Yeah.
Because then they can experience that. I never take any of it for granted, you know, but if they could go with me on a Tuesday night when I know I'm not going to get a night off until Saturday,
They're like, what's this garbage ass
that becomes
shit?
the quality time kind
Right,
of,
yeah.
you know.
It's opportunistic, right?
Yeah.
Could you go see this?
Right. So I would want some music's important to me. So I would want someone that was kind of in that same sweet spot. Not perfect because I like learning new.
Sure.
But
Right.
Yeah.
Flexible.
yeah.
I can't fuck with people that listen to just garbage music.
Your idea of garbage music.
I can't say that out loud, but like I said, trap music. I can understand trap music if you're out dancing and like
Sure.
that's definitely has its purpose.
Yeah.
But if you're just driving around nonstop, just rolling blunts and
Yeah.
fucking listening to trap music, you're probably not
Well,
going
there's
to
a
work
lot
out
of
well
issues
with me.
in that statement.
No, I'm sure those people just date people that are into that.
Yeah, but all that music is like, it goes through cycles. So
Right.
all of that music is coming back in a
I know,
in a
right.
mutated form.
Oh.
Yeah,
You know, the
right.
synth rock,
here.
all of that is
Yeah.
coming back
It
from the
is here.
60s and 70s. And it's interesting. So,
I like somebody who can appreciate other music. So my biggest thing is this: even if you don't listen to what I listen to because I'm a weirdo, even if I play it and you go, like I like that, or tell me more about that,
Right.
or like
That's how I
I'm
am.
into
Yeah,
that.
like there's not a lot I can shoot
and
down.
weirdly enough, I listen to fucking talk radio. I listen to
Yeah.
people talking. You know what I mean? Because I grew up with that.
Awful.
I can't do it.
I grew up with it.
Yeah.
I mean, I was raised by Howie Chiswick and Howard Stern, which explains a lot about my personality.
Sure, it does.
It does, doesn't
It
it?
sure does.
Like those are my two like.
See, I grew up listening to Magic 105.7 when it was the oldies, but now
Yeah.
they're playing like
Pearl
Bret
Jam.
Michaels. They're playing like
Yeah.
80s and 90s now, so it throws me
bizarre.
off just a little
Right.
bit. Plus, it's
Yeah.
Mark Nolan. God bless him. Like I think he's adorable, but he's on there too, and that always throws me off too. I'm like, where's my Lanigan and Webster? You
Yeah.
know, like old school. So
But even as a young guy, I was listening to Howie Chiswick and Howard Stern. Like it makes nobody. I mean, you know who Howard Stern is. But Howie Chiswick was. How many men did he raise? I mean, honestly, like every day he was like the dad or like the cool uncle, you know, the crazy uncle. I don't even know if he was crazy, but like he really affected me because he tried to look things fairly and like he did things like openly.
Well, if that was a half-hour conversation that you had every day, Monday through Friday, driving to work every day, yes, he absolutely influenced so many people.
Correct.
I mean,
Right.
As soon as Howard Stern would go off, I would switch over to Howard
Howie.
Chiswick, and it just, you know. But he also had a lot of people call in. I mean, it's probably why I'm sitting here right now. I swear,
Yeah.
those two guys, you know, because it just made sense to me, and I was
Influential,
like, I get that, dude. I wish we could bring. You don't remember this, but they had a thing called a dating show.
I do.
You remember that on
they had
The 2 and
NIR?
2?
No, on the radio.
Oh.
So they would have people call in on a dating show. They would have like, say, Laura was on there, and we're having like guys would call in, and she would.
Oh.
Dude, I would give anything in the world.
Why
to
can't we do
reboot
that?
I would reboot the shit out of that because I
Let's do
would.
it.
Oh my god!
Let's do it.
All right.
Season 2.
Season 2, we're gonna do that.
Live phone calls.
Mike, I think you're first up.
Yeah, we're gonna get Mike hitched. All right.
All
well,
right.
we're gonna wrap up here. Hey, bring that boy in here. I got to show him how he's growing. Is he sleeping? Is he dead asleep? He's dead sleeping.
The cutest puppy ever.
We'll
my
finish this
God.
season with him.
Yeah.
I'll bring Bubbles.
You have to.
We'll hold them both. We'll have to move the mic way back. She's real loud.
Yeah. He's growing so much, and he is the coolest thing ever. Be nice to each other. Find out your love language, and be respectful of somebody else's love language, and try to communicate. And honestly, that's a pretty fun second date, man. If you're going on a second date, you actually like that person, and you're trying to get to know them. So maybe take those tests together on your phone.
Yeah,
and like,
they're free.
Yeah, but how? I mean, like, that's a good second date. Yeah. Don't just go, "What's your love languages?" Do it in real time with them, because the last time you took that test, you might have changed a little bit.
That's true. There's a love language. I do it with my kids like every couple years, because there's adult to child.
Yeah.
Like, what does your child need from you?
Fuck.
I do that with my kids all the time.
Holy shit. We could have talked about that for a fucking hour.
We'll
Listen, I've never seen our TikTok shit go so crazy as people pissed off at their parents or their fucking ex-husband.
Right. But yeah, they're the same love languages, but just what does your child need from you?
How it's delivered?
My oldest is not a physical touch person. My middle one is.
Really?
Yes. He will walk up and say, "Mom, can I have a hug?" I'm like, buddy, absolutely.
Right.
And all the time. But my 15-year-old, I couldn't touch him with a 10-foot pole. I just tickle him and pinch him.
That's it?
Because it's funny, yeah.
I can't imagine that their languages would be the same at 7 as 17.
No,
like the same kid, just because you're evolving and whatever.
Like every 2 years.
Yeah.
Every 2 years, I check in
smart.
and like try to figure out what it is that they need from me right now.
I try to hug mine a lot. You know what I mean?
Not a physical touch person.
I tell my daughters I love them so much, man.
Mm-hmm.
I really do, because
good.
I know how important it is.
Right.
And I really do. Like, I've learned a lot.
Yeah.
You know, and just to make them feel safe and to make them feel that they trust me. That's, man, once you lose that trust with anybody, but especially with your fucking kid, man, then you're just setting them up to torture other people.
That's true. But yeah, so there's a lot of resources online. Partners, children. There's
But
like
do
an
that
anger,
on, like,
a fighting language or whatever. Like, there's a lot of things to try to simplify it and help you understand your mate.
That would be interesting to do on, like, fourth date, is go, how do you problem solve through, like, if you're having a problem, what would you do? You know what I mean? And why would you do that?
Yeah.
That's some
Everybody's
real
approach is different.
conversation.
That's true.
Not just like, oh my God, do you like
I wonder
Five
if
Finger
that's
Death
on
Punch?
Marissa's
You know what I mean? Like, me
PDF.
too. Oh my God, let's go drink Monster and fight. Just kidding.
Well, when we get that PDF, we'll just attach these assessments to the end of
Ooh,
it.
we need that shit. Oh my God. Oof. That episode fucked me up more than any episode I've ever done here so far.
Well,
and
we're
that's saying a lot.
We're going to go out episode 14 with a
Fuck.
doozy.
It's going to be, this is your life, Thomas.
It's my whole goal. I'm going to bring in a
my God.
whiteboard.
I thought you said a wife board. I was like, the fuck out of here.
Tuck and roll, tuck and roll.
Mike, Justin, you better be prepared. Get that back door fucking unlocked now. Stat. Thank you so much. Be nice to people. Really do that shit on the second date, man. I think that would be really beneficial. Quit fucking around. If you really want a good investment, look at like you're putting your life savings into something. Or at least half of it. Just look like you're putting half your life savings in it. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Quit looking like you're hiring an employee. Look like you're getting ready to share a successful business. Because when you're in a relationship, you are sharing a successful business. And you would do way more research on a person to share a business with versus having them work for you.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
So just remember that. Be nice to each other. And if not, fuck off. And that's as simple as it gets. Have a great day. Oh, call the hotline if you don't want to fuck off. 234-200-5949. I'm sure they're going to put it up. Guess what? You got one more show after this, and this set looking the same, and we're going to change a little bit. So I'm very excited to how it's going to change a little bit. So have a great day. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.